Hello, everybody. I can't even. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. This is session 27. It's a night. We're here. We're doing a thing. I'm just gonna jump into it. We're just gonna jump into a recap. So, previously in the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, on their way out of the dungeon, the party found a secret door, thanks to the blessings of Dumathoin, the Dwarven Keeper of Secrets. They chose to investigate, even though their resources were running low, and after making their way down a mysterious hall of shields, being snooped on by a spectral eye, and fighting yet another secret door, they found themselves face to face with a swarm of giant rats and a rather corpulent were-rat named Flindle. The party spent some time conversing with Flindle and found that he was an agent of the Xanathar, searching the dungeon for treasure. He explained that many of his giant rat scouts had been killed just to the north, and that he and his ally, another were-rat named Sylvia... I'm getting an echo from someone. We're trying to figure out...
I was muted during that.
Oh, was it? Oh, well, someone else is echoing. Check if you can.
Me?
Hello? I don't know.
I hear it too, so I'm gonna.
I was still muted.
Hello?
I'm muting again.
Everyone muted at the same time.
I'm not muted. Try it and prove it's not me.
Hello? It's not Jake. There, you both unmuted. Alright, hello! It's Mitch.
Okay.
Okay. that was a fun process of elimination. Alright, sorry.
One of these years I'll get off of these headphones. And
You said before 6:45, right?
Hey, we started before 6:40. We're good.
Only 15 minutes late.
Right? Okay, so back to what I was saying. He explained that many of his giant rat scouts had been killed just to the north, and that he and his ally, another were-rat named Sylvia, were trying to figure out what to do about it. Flindle propositioned the party. If they investigated and took care of whatever was there, he would pay them 20 gold, allow them first pick of the spoils, and put in a good word for them upon his return to Skullport. The party agreed and took their leave, heading north. There they found a zigzagged hallway in the bones of many dead creatures. Shortly after, they were attacked by a violent whirlwind. An air elemental had made this place its domain, and the party was trespassing. But monks can stun air. And so the party was able to swiftly best the elemental, dispersing it back to its natural realm. The party in...
at all.
I thought it sounded so much fun to say it like that. So
It's
the
not
party...
angry at all. This is
No. The party investigated further, finding a small amount of treasure from the elemental's victims, as well as eventually finding a working bathhouse. Taking this rare opportunity, the party relaxed in the inviting location, though some were more reserved than others. Still, this opportunity showed the party that there were some things in the dungeon that weren't out to kill them. Some. After resting, the party searched a few more barren rooms before investigating a secret passage and stumbling upon Sylvia, the were-rat that Flindle had mentioned before. Sylvia proved a bit more hesitant in negotiating, and the party soon found that she had little patience for Flindle and his sloth. So much so, in fact, that she offered to pay the party not to report back to him, hoping that if he didn't have the option of exploring further, she might be able to get him to return to Skullport sooner. She offered the party 40 gold and her good word in Skullport, and the party accepted this. Having no further avenues of exploration, the party then chose to exit the dungeon, heading back up to the Yawning Portal. There they sought out Obaya, both for item identification and to see if she could help with Ezra's skeleton hands. Neither proved successful, unfortunately, but Obaya was able to offer some insight to Ezra. Afterwards, the party split up. Bones headed to the Guild of Fine Carvers to work and socialize. Ashes headed to the Steam and Steel to purchase a bludgeoning weapon. And Ezra and Matashtai went to a nearby temple of Kelemvor, the one that Matashtai had stayed at when he first arrived in the city. There they met with Bryce, a half-orc cleric of the Judge of the Damned. Ezrah sought Bryce's assistance in removing the magic that had left his hands as bones, and fortunately, Bryce was actually able to do so. Utilizing a handful of diamond dust, Bryce restored Ezra's hands with a greater restoration. Afterwards, Ezrah asked about the lightning skull that the party had encountered down in the dungeon, and Bryce sold the two of them some holy water in order to take care of the undead creature. From there, Ezrah and Matashtai traveled to the Seaward to visit Mert at the Lightsinger Theater. There, Ezrah delivered Calabash's journals and discussed the matter of Undermountain and the party's goals with Mert. Mert, in turn, rewarded the party for their endeavors. Later, the party reconvened at the Lifted Spirits, another day of triumph under their belts. If you can call the deeds of this day a triumph. After all, a man had been slain this day. True, justice had probably been served, but was what they had done right? The calm night. And then it's a dawn. It is the following morning.
Early in the morning.
Yep.
Because, Ezra's stupid and wakes up at dawn.
Sure.
I approach Bones's chamber. Bones?
My kegger.
Your chamber.
Yeah.
Chamber.
Although I would be down with a bigger.
I mean, that's fine too. But Bones, are you awake?
No.
Can I come in? You're responding, so I think that means you're awake.
I go back sleep.
Bones!
I open door.
Hi. I thought you were awake.
Can I reach the door with my where? I don't know where. I'm gonna say I can reach the door from where I'm laying. I open the door but continue laying.
So your bed's like right next to the door, and you just kind of like.
It's a hammock. It's Gad's hammock.
Oh, is it Gad's hammock? Okay, gotcha.
I go.
You're sleeping where he slept.
Sure.
Ezra, I was up really, really late.
I'll be quick. I promise. You were planning on heading to your facility to work on your projects, right?
I don't know. Probably eventually.
Okay. Well, I wrote down a couple of spells that if you could talk to your enchanter buddy and maybe see if he can get some scrolls and get some pricing and see if he's able to do that. I'd appreciate it.
Yes, put it with my pile of things, and I point to a random corner.
I take the piece of paper that I have scrawled some information on and put it on his pile of things.
Okay, gotcha. So you now have a little list of things to look into for Ezra. Should you meet up with a Atadin, I believe is the person we're talking about? Wamiel?
Yes. If he shows up eventually, maybe.
Okay, cool. So, the
I say
morning,
thank. I go back to sleep.
the morning comes for all of you, and all of you have kind of like talked about this. You all know you're going to be spending at least a day or two, at least, right? Maybe more, up top. So none of you are kind of like forced to convene all at the same time. So you're kind of like filtering out of your rooms and then down to the tavern eventually for in order to break your fast. As you all end up filtering down, a couple of things of note. Two things. There are two missives at the bar that Cine is holding. One is...
I come down not a minute earlier than 10:30 a.m.
Jesus Christ.
I was up late, Jeremy.
Oh my god, you weren't up that late. Holy crap.
I thought I was up till like 2 a.m.
Sure, but you can't just like take a short night. Holy crap!
Not if I want a long rest.
God, whatever. Anyways,
Can I take a short night
mean,
and have a long rest?
Mechanically speaking, that's
no,
fair.
that is dumb. If we ever
If
get
I can
into
do
a
that, I will
no.
come down at 9:30 a.m.
Yes, you can
All right, well,
come
how
down whenever.
little sleep does one?
No,
have to
this is why we don't have that conversation. Is because as soon
is a
as you
good
have that
question. How
conversation,
little sleep
someone's
can I
like,
get and
"Well,
still
if
have a
I
long
could get away
rest?"
with 7 hours, then you fuck asses. We're humans. We do this shit all the time. Should you get 8 hours? Yes, absolutely. Would it be better if you had 9 hours? A lot of times, for some people, yes. Can you make do off of 7 hours? Yeah, but it's not pleasant all the time. If you start to
Fine,
like
come down at
get
9:30
nitpicky
a.m.
mechanically, then we'll have that
You're
conversation.
the one making
Otherwise,
exceptions. We're just
I don't think-
embracing those exceptions.
otherwise, I don't think it's gonna matter. Anyways, missive at the bar. There is a missive at the bar for Ezrah. Is in the. It's just a rolled up scroll.
Ezra would have opened this before 9:30.
Yeah, absolutely, right? It's a missive from Mert, actually. It's a missive from Mert, saying that he believes he has found another object that Ezra might be interested in. So he gives you. There's some basic details in the missive, right? That through his contacts, he was able to find a nobleman that is potentially on like some hard times as far as like cash goes. So they're selling off items, selling off some of their estates, some of their
Valuable items.
yeah, kind of like antiques and things like that, right? And some of the stuff that they're selling are actual magical things. And this particular one is a Heward's handy haversack. I know you're familiar with that item, so that's not the name that would be given in the missive, but it would be
The
detailed.
description means
Right, it would give you a basic description of it's basically a traveling backpack that has dimensional pockets, etc. The asking price is 4,000 gold.
Damn it.
Which is actually fair to middling for a Heward's handy haversack.
I would send a response saying yes, I'm interested.
Say what?
Saying yes, I'm interested.
Okay,
It
fantastic.
says hi. Is this
Oh
still
well,
available?
so there's not a like you may respond to this message. It basically just gives you the location. It gives you the details in the location. So if you are interested, you can head there and meet up with this individual. The nobleman's name is Victoro Casalanter.
Toro, like Toro.
Victoro. But yeah,
Victor.
Or
I believe.
Toro.
I
Like a
believe. Let me
tuna.
double check, but I'm pretty sure that's
Oh,
what I put in my notes, anyways.
Toro.
Jewel.
Yeah, it's Victoro Casalanter.
Muda-da-da-da.
I swear, sometimes you guys are insane. Oh,
Sometimes.
I haven't done
sometimes.
anything.
Sometimes. All right, cool. So that is out there, and I'm gonna go ahead and go through the other missive, even though it would probably be reviewed a little later, and then time for this day, since this is gonna be a downtime scenario. Time's gonna be kind of wibbly wobbly. Don't worry about like specifics of I gotta do this in these orders, right? If you forget something, we can go back, whatever. There is a missive for Bones.
Jeremy, bear me.
Actually, there are 2 missives from Bones. Or Bones.
Hell yeah,
Um,
double mail. I never used to get mail.
One, well, I say missives. There's a missive in the shape of a paper bird that Cine points out, right?
Nice. Do I have to catch it? Is it flying?
No, it's just sitting on the.
I catch it.
Cine points it out, and Bones just like swipes it. It's just sitting on the countertop, but Bones just like, huh!
Yeah.
Like a cat trying to catch a laser pointer dot.
Yeah. If you open up this missive and read this missive is from Ayatadin Guamiel, the enchanter that you had spoken to previously.
Hell yeah.
Basically letting you know that he has done as he said he would, right? He has looked into you and your dealings in the city, and your compatriots, and has heard nothing but good news. And he would be pleased to work with you, and he is very interested to hear what ideas you have, and what your plans, because he's kind of under the impression that you're going to be supplying things, right? That's the big, your side of the task is supplying and requesting, whereas he does the legwork as far as like enchantment goes.
Yeah, the
that's
magic
his
stuff.
understanding. So if you have a different idea, by all means let him know. But he basically informs you that he's very interested to see what ideas you have and what materials you believe you'll have access to. And
Roger
he gives
that.
you
Does he have a?
he
Okay,
gives
go ahead.
you a address at which you can contact him. Basically gives you his working address.
Nice. He maintains a storefront.
He doesn't have a storefront, but he has a laboratory that is not attached. It's like his public space, right? The people that know him and work with him can contact him there, but it's not his private quarters. Which is
Dope.
a relatively, I don't want to say common thing. It's not super common in Waterdeep, but it is significantly more common than other cities. Most cities, if you're not a wealthy noble, having two different locations, like having a home and a business, is kind of weird. Normally your home is your business. Like, you own a tavern, you sleep above it or below it, and that type of thing. But
6 feet below it.
But mages in Waterdeep, and some powerful adventurers tend to have a little bit more flexibility as far as the city goes. So,
Dope. I pocket it.
cool. His address is in the North Ward, by the way. It's not too terribly far away from you all.
Oh, that's pretty close to us.
It is down Tower March, towards the Field War. So
Tower March.
if you're looking, it's probably up here-ish.
Bro,
Yeah, I see Tower March. I see that. Okay. I was trying to locate that street, actually.
Yep. He's not too terribly far away from you guys.
And he's like a block and a half away. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the second one
As
that
the crow flies.
you have access to, the second missive, is there's a squirrel. That is there. And so I say for you, right? Cine knows it's for one of you because the thing is it's marked. It has like this little jacket, right?
It's got a backpack?
It doesn't have a backpack, but it has like this little jacket and it has like a little strip. It has like a where you would attach a little canister to hold a message.
I'm sorry.
Right?
I just can't get the visual of it's Chip from Chippendale
Yeah.
Rescue Rangers.
God, much more squirrely and less, animated, so there's basically a little squirrel with a message on its back. And he doesn't know who it's for.
Yep, that one's for me too. That one, it's
displayed.
fine. I got this.
But so
I really hope he's got like a message like in his little back or whatever, and Bones takes the message and just goes. Oh,
it's
squirrel.
literally like you take out. It's just this little piece of parchment, like rolled up piece of parchment, very small script, right? This little message written on it, and it's basically it says, just wanted to let you know your enchanter friend contacted me. Hope we left a good impression, and it's signed Eleanor.
Hell yeah. It's like your friend letting you know they checked your references.
Yeah, basically. That's all it is. And as soon as you take the message out of the back of the little canister, right? The scroll darts. Like it doesn't stick around. It just leaves.
Fine, be that way. I was gonna give you some beer nuts.
No. Got other shit to do.
Beer
It was making googly
Yeah, I
eyes at
assume we
another
have some of
squirrel.
those.
Where the hell's your beer nuts?
Don't we have? We're a
Got
bar.
a bar. I don't know that you have
Wow.
beer nuts, but definitely have snacks.
Ale nuts, whatever.
The bar has snacks.
I think we need to properly define what snacks.
I can tell you exactly what the snacks. I can tell you down to the day what the snacks are. It's the 23rd.
I'm good on. No, I'm good on. I'd rather kill myself.
Snacks. Oh, they have
I'm
cheese
$1 million
curds out
baby
today.
myself right now. $1 million baby myself.
Hell yeah.
They legitimately that's what's on the menu is they have cheese curds out as snacks all throughout the day.
Gross. It's a
Yesterday
little hot
was
for that.
blackberries. The day before that was nut bread.
What? It's winter.
I have too much time on my hands sometimes. So
We just had bread one day.
nut bread.
What kind of low class
Nut
establishment
bread.
is this?
You
Nothing
ass.
but bread.
Nut
Just
bread.
bread.
Figured you know all about nut bread.
Yeah, you should know about the nut bread. Come on. All right.
Dope.
Anyways. So you guys have the day out before you. I know some of you have planned out a bunch of downtime activities. Let's start it off. We're gonna hop around to see, if we can keep everyone reasonably involved for some of us. But so what do you guys want to do?
Ezra would have left immediately.
No,
Okay.
fuck that. I tell Ezra, you need to wait.
You
I
weren't
gather
up.
everyone
You
together.
waited until 9:30.
Okay, well, fine. Go ahead then. Leave.
I'm still getting some echo from some.
It's Zach.
That's
That
probably me. Fuck
Love
off.
you.
I don't know why y'all so fucking aggressive. Everyone's always aggressive about everything. Trying to
I
live
said
my
I
life.
love you.
Can't even live my
I
life.
literally
Can't
like
listen
asked.
to goddamn. Can't listen to Limp Bizkit. Can't do shit. Can't do anything about my
Fucking
own goddamn
Limp
life. Fucking god.
You're so put upon. I
I
am
love it
so sorry
so
that I
much.
ask so much of you. I really
Agreed. I agree that I am put upon.
am. Okay, so Bones tries to get Ezra to not leave super early. What's going on? What happens?
If he leaves before I wake up, right? You're leaving before 9:30? All right, you're gone.
Yeah, no,
He's gone.
he would have gotten the missive as soon as it came in because I'm assuming it didn't come at the night.
It would have
I was
actually
waiting in line at the Apple store.
it would have basically shown up like really early, like 5:30 or 6 o'clock.
So after I gave Bones the thing
Yeah.
about
Yep,
scrolls, I
yep.
would came down. It would have been there, and I'd be like, "Oh, time to go."
All right. So if that's the case,
I
then,
gather everyone else together, including staff. All
Sure.
staff who were there.
Oh, gotcha.
Is Alan here? I want Alan to be here.
Um,
Isn't his name Alan? Elaine? What the fuck is our larderer's name?
Alan Ponza.
Oh yeah, you fuck. You make fun of me, Jay. I know his name.
It's just such a normal name.
Some people in Waterdeep are normal people. Damn it.
Where's Joshua?
Jeez.
Yeah, where the fuck is Kevin?
Gregory.
We don't talk about
Jeff.
Kevin.
Jeff with a G.
Goodness grief. So, you gather all of the roll me a D3.
Roll a togetherness check.
Roll me a D3.
Roll 1d3. It's a 2.
Alan is here.
Hell yeah. What's up, Alan? My boy.
The fuck would have been the third option?
Huh? No, a 2 and a
Here?
3 is
Not
he's
here?
here. A 1 isn't. He's not. He's basically here every 2 days, but he basically like has a skip day every 3 days.
Okay.
Because he keeps you guys in stock relatively well. He'll normally like check in on the 3rd day to see if Guillaume wants something specific, but normally he doesn't need to.
Alright, I gather everyone together. Lift too. I say lift. Bring it in.
Lift
I hope he
just
brings
kind
it
of
in.
floats there over the bar.
Everybody, I felt really bad about Ezra's insensitivity and the nice gifts he gave us. So I worked long into the night, using very rare and hard to find materials to make you these very sensitive and heartfelt gifts. and then I give everybody their necklace.
All right.
Look, on one side it has a little troll skull, and on the back it says "home" because I value you all.
Okay. All of the staff seem impressed and pleased by this little gift, right?
I'd have done this earlier, but they would never let me leave the dungeon. They forced me to stay down there.
They forced you to stay down there. They twisted your arm. So again, everyone is impressed. Everyone likes the gift. Everyone thanks you for it. But to see if this actually does like an uptick on morale or something like that, roll me a just straight charisma at advantage.
Okay.
Because everybody likes getting gifts. 18, which is a success. So yeah, everyone is very pleased. I mean, some people like Guillaume and Cine, for example, are a little like,
oh, Cine, you like this? You ain't gotta show it.
They're like, thank you very much for this tooth. I appreciate it amazingly.
It's
right?
a very rare tooth, Cine.
And
wear
they
it outside of your shirt.
They give much better performances than I do, right? They're very welcoming and accepting, and they thank you heartily for the gift, right? But it's obvious that some people like it way more, like Ajalon, right? Your Dragonborn bouncer,
I bet
your
he
security guard.
loves that shit.
He loves it. He's just raving about it. He's absolutely like, this is amazing, right? This could go with my 30 other teeth necklaces. This is fantastic.
I say, Liv, I'm just gonna put yours here, and I put it in the back of the bar.
Cool. There's like some pegs back behind the bar that like
of the
people will hang up like aprons and things like that. You could hang it on something like that.
No, I just play it.
Cool. So I will notate. That's a morale boost for the
All of y'all got one too, not Jay because he left.
Wow.
Who left?
Jacob.
Who is this? Jacob?
Yes, Jacob left.
He's making it way more personal by looking past the character to the player.
So it was a
Jacob.
tooth what?
Has slighted me.
It's a wyvern tooth necklace.
Get up at an unreasonably early time like the rest of us. Come on.
And
Some of us are craftsmen and have to work to make our money.
I mean, I'm a craftsman too.
And
I wear it prominently.
on one side it
front
has
of
a
my
little
vest.
troll skull kind of carved into it, and on the other side is what?
It says home.
Oh.
In common?
What is it bound by? What is the
Pretty nice leather.
It's a nice leather thong, basically.
Oh,
Yes.
the whale tail. It's a.
Yes.
They are very rare wyvern teeth.
They're
Wyvern.
actually very nice. So-
Very rare.
He would like you to know how rare they are.
I let everyone know that they are of the utmost quality.
Morale dips just slightly as Bones
Quite
gets
possibly
like
the
super,
rarest
just
thing
starts
you could
like
have.
stalking
No,
people.
well, they're
Going,
not the
do you know
rarest,
how
but-
very rare these are?
Please
Anyways.
note the quality of the bone.
So, everyone takes that as a morale boost. It's been notated. That will affect your next one. I mean, that'll just mean your staff is happier with you, which is great. But that will actually affect your next week's productivity to see how things.
I mean, they're not legendary. Yes.
They're just very rare, legendary. All right. So that happens.
Dope.
Next, who wants to go? Who's doing what? Jay, what do you got? What are you doing?
I would like
Just gonna
to
start going
go
around
out
the circle.
and find some kind of like either clothing store or even maybe like a magic shop that might be able to provide some kind of like heating source, because for some reason Ashes really wants to get to that
Heating so. Okay, gotcha.
I'm assuming like a fire that can't be blown out. Something
So your
That's just
luck in
stupid.
something like that is going to be way less likely. But you
Then I'll just go to a
absolutely, I
clothing
mean,
store.
it's the start of winter in Waterdeep. You can go out and find parkas, heavy winter clothing, plenty of like oil lamps, anything to like anything mundane to generate heat that you can think of for the time period, you absolutely can find for a
I guess
reasonable
hooded
price.
lanterns would not get blown out.
Probably not.
But they're probably not going to get.
They don't get super hot, no. But
yeah, I think the park idea is just something to completely drape over and.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you guys just don't talk about your clothing very much. I assume that you guys are wearing decent clothing for the weather. No, Matastai's just running around fucking naked. Gotcha.
No, he's not naked. He's got like a vest and like really poofy pants.
Okay,
and
well,
some,
it's
like,
cold as shit every
boots.
day now. Just saying, like it's snow on the ground almost every day at this point.
What Ashes would know would be good for cold weather is like kind of like a fur, like a tanned fur. So you have thick leather on the outside, and on the inside some really fluffy, bristly.
Absolutely can find that type of stuff. So your best bet is to either go to the market or to head down to the I'm gonna hop over or to head down into the trade ward and just look around for clothers, which is not going to be too terribly difficult. Are you just looking for clothing for yourself, or are you looking clothing for everyone?
For 4 sets of winter clothing.
What a guy!
Gotcha.
What a guy! I want a full-length parka, one of the ones that zips all the way from
actually,
the bottom
I'll just
all the way
tell
to
the
the top.
party.
Yeah, that's your plan. That's what you're
I'm doing. So if they have requests,
does anyone have
like it
requests?
White.
Full-length parka, please.
Full-length parka.
A really cool hood.
Clothing.
I would like for it to be wreathed in down from 7 penguins.
do penguins have down?
I have no idea. Probably they keep warm.
I don't know. I bet most variants have some sort of store.
I don't know. Bones, I feel like, would know.
Do penguins?
Do penguins? So what you're looking for is basically just it's basically just clothing appropriate for the season. So unless someone has some outlandish requests, then you're gonna be fine.
Zach.
What? Full-length parka? Full down.
A full-length parka is not super outlandish. These are a little bit more expensive than your common clothes because they're winter clothes. They're harder to make. So what you're looking at is you're only looking at like a gold per person.
They come with some thick ass snow boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I want some snow boots.
add another gold. 5 gold total.
God,
and
gold for boots?
for 4 people's boots, yes.
That's less ridiculous than I making it sound with my tone.
Exactly.
All right, I will spend 5 gold for 4 sets of full body cold weather gear.
And it occurs to you, right? Like maybe it occurs to you that you may or may not want to like buy, like, you have a home now, right? It actually might make some sense to buy a couple of different outfits for just, wearing around the city so you're not wearing the exact same thing every single day.
Prestidigitate.
Ashes does not give a shit about clothing. It's all gotta have like ramification. Like if he's out and about, he's ready.
People will begin to comment on the stench.
I mean, I'll wash my shit.
Yeah.
I'll just go commando while I do it.
So it's like laundry night every week. In the apartments, right? Where Ashes like scrubs his own stuff in a wash bin and then like hangs it up, right? But it's freezing, and you guys don't exactly have like central heat and air or anything like that, so he has to like hang it up in the common room next to the fire, right? And then he's walking around nude the entire time.
How heavy is a set of winter gear?
How heavy is it? Check, it'll double whatever the regular stuff is. So 6 pounds.
Okay.
So, you spend some time picking up some winter clothing. That's done and done. Next in line is Ezrah. What is Ezrah starting his day off with?
He already told you. He's going to.
Refresh my memory. Difficult
going
man.
He already told you, Jeremy.
Jesus.
Investigate the
Okay.
haversack.
So you head to, you take the directions given to you. You head to the Sea Ward and visit the Castellanter Villa. And when you get there, you actually do see, it's not like it's crowded or anything like that, but you do see a couple of people coming and going. There is a small cluster of porters, basically like hired men that look to be moving some furniture out of the estate as you come into it, right? And there's not a noble, right, but a nobleman's man, kind of like directing them as they come out of this gate to this noble manor. And there's a couple of people walking around here or there. There are guards at the gate that kind of stop you as you approach. They kind of like call for you to halt and inform them who you are and what your purpose here is. Though they seem relatively relaxed about it. They're not like barking at you. There's a lot of people around, so it seems like they're kind of attuned to that whole situation. They're like, people are coming and going. We're just checking to make sure. So, what do you tell them? You just tell them that you.
I tell them that. Hold on, I changed the tab on my OneNote.
Gotcha.
I tell them that an individual that I am in repute with noted that there is an item for sale from the master of the house, and that a arrangement was potentially being made.
That's sufficiently vague enough that both guards they kind of like look back and forth at each other, and then it'll be like, do you have anything more specific?
A magical case of sorts.
And
Victoro is the individual.
and then they kind of like nod, like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. And because they're giving you weird eyes, right? You are, after all,
everyone gives me weird eyes. I've got vitiligo.
yeah,
all over my body.
you're this half elf with vitiligo, right? And you're kind of a little, I don't know, you're not really putting it on or anything like that, but they're kind of viewing you as maybe like a little cagey, right? All of a sudden, so they're kind of like, okay. And one of them will say, okay, I'll go ask about it and wait here, right?
Thank you.
And he heads out, and it doesn't take very long. He comes back in 15 minutes or so, and says that he'll show you into a waiting room, right? That the lord of the household is a little occupied dealing with another sale at the moment, but he should be free in a short amount of time, and he has asked that you wait on hand, right? Because he does wish to meet with you about the item. And so you get led into a drawing room, and you're seated, and it's a nice place, right? Like the whole place is, and that's, I think, the key word. The whole place is very nice. It's not incredibly opulent, right? It's not just a disgusting display of wealth. The people here seem, you see a couple of servants come and go. You see a couple guards, right? Everyone here seems relatively well-mannered and in a decent mood or everything like that. Which, I don't know if this strikes Ezrah as odd or not, right? Because it seems like there's an estate sale going on or something like that. Normally, I don't know if
love estates.
right there it seems odd perhaps that there are so many things being sold off and there's so much work being done all over the place and everyone's just like okay, yeah, sounds good, you know.
Ezra would not pick up on that.
You wait for probably about 20 or 30 minutes before a middle-aged man with kind of the pencil mustache, right, and curly hair, kind of like slicked back, but then curly hair around the base of his neck, right, kind of comes in, and he looks rather dashing, honestly. He obviously he's getting up there in years, right? He has kind of some lines around his eyes, a little bit of a tightness to his smile, right? But he's definitely got that look of like just past his prime, and in his prime he was probably a bit of a skirt chaser or a heartbreaker or something along those lines, right?
My word's way better. Fuck you.
Say what?
I said Lothario and you ignored me.
Oh, sorry. But he comes in and he sees you and he smiles warmly at you, and he walks over and extends his hand, right? Like shakes your hand. Assuming you accept it.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't. How long you've been in the city for a while?
Yeah,
You've
we're probably
met
coming up on a year now.
Yeah, coming up on a year. And you've actually gone to like some soirees and stuff like that. Waterdeep has an interesting nobility, a nobility that is more grounded perhaps than than other cities, right? In Waterdeep, most of the nobility actually takes the concept of being civil servants way more seriously than a lot of other places do. They really do have a bit more of the concept of like, we are only where we are because the citizens need us and let us do what we need to do to help them, that type of thing,
Yeah.
right? And the nobility in Waterdeep tends to do a lot of things. Like they host most of the festivals, they pay for a lot of the public services that are in the city, right? That being said, though, most nobles are still a little bit like stuck up, a little bit hoity-toity about things, right?
Defo douchebag.
This guy is very friendly, right? Very like to come in and be so open with you and just like shake your hand and he begins to just like chat you up, right? Like not immediately launch into conversation about this item, but to ask after who you are, right? Ask how you have been, how the onset of winter has treated you, whether or not you had a good last sheaf, right? That type of thing. He's very nice for a noble. But that being said, right, he does eventually bring the conversation back around to the item that he is interested in selling.
Sure. And do you have it so I can inspect to make sure? It is as-
He
as,
will. He'll look around. He'll apologize. Right. He says I was so scatterbrained. I should have brought it with me. And he will. He doesn't like. He doesn't scream. He doesn't holler, and he doesn't do anything like so casual as like snap. But he like turns around and he sees that there's no servant immediately like in arm's reach, and he kind of like goes over the door and he looks around and he's up, and he flags down an individual to go retrieve this item for you. And while that's happening, right, he chats with you for another few minutes. And then the item gets brought in, and it is a backpack, right? Is
it more of a satchel bag, or is it truly more
Shaped
of
like a mule, and it's a messenger bag.
No, it's not shaped like a mule or a messenger bag. It's
missing a great opportunity here.
It's actually it's more like a backpack. Yeah, it's less of like a hiking bag and more of like a Interestingly enough, it's more of like a school backpack, that type of thing. So it's relatively small, but Victoria will go through the process of kind of like showing you all of the different pouches, explaining to you the parameters of the item itself. Right, you as a player know all of these, so I don't think we need to go into crazy detail about it. But it is a bag that can hold a certain amount, has a couple of restrictions as far as like length and width of items that go into it, etc. Right, but should serve your purposes.
Is there a trader's table or a coffee table or something of that nature that we're showcasing on, or any of that nature in the room? Or
yeah, so there in the room that you're in, there's this kind of like a coffee table in the drawing room scenario, and then there's actually like a small bar. He's kind of leaning on that. That's what he's not like sitting or anything like that. He's kind of like leaning with one arm as he's talking to you on that, and he just has it brought in and put on there. So take a look at it.
This is wonderful. Let me just and Ezra goes into his pack and pulls out 200 platinum pieces and sets them on the table.
Okay, so
This
you
is
just start to.
Yep.
Gotcha.
That seems like we're in accord.
And so as you begin to place the money on the counter, right, there is almost unmistakably this he doesn't change his demeanor in any way, shape, form, or fashion, right? But you see this hungry glint in his eyes, like he stares at the money, and he doesn't, right? But his lips kind of tremble, as though he were to lick his lips, that type of thing. He just stares at that money like a slavering wolf.
Cool.
But there's the after you like lay it all out there, he kind of like goes through a few motions, kind of like counting it in his head, and then he looks like he kind of like drags his gaze away from it, and he looks at you and he says, "Fantastic," and he holds out his hand to you to kind of like shake your hand and seal the deal, that kind of thing.
Okay.
All right.
With the 200 platinum pieces, Ezra shakes his hand. And...
Fantastic. Ezra has sold his soul to the devil. Wonderful. Buddy. Appreciate it. No. Ezra has purchased a Heward's Handy Haversack. You can go ahead and add that.
2,000 gold pieces.
Did you put out 200? Oh, that doesn't count because you didn't trick him. You tricked me.
You can't just say it doesn't count.
No. You didn't trick him.
I made it pretty
me.
Clear what I was doing.
Fuck you.
He did say 200 platinum.
Well, okay, so it was your intent to try to okay.
Yeah.
If that is the case, then as you go to put the money out, right? As you finish putting the money out, and like I said, his gaze is still very hungry on it. But as you kind of like stop at the 2,000 mark, right? He will kind of like pause, and he'll turn and look at you.
I'll smile expectantly.
He'll say,
"Is there a problem?"
I believe I had said that the piece was for 4,000 dragons.
4,000? That wasn't what I was told. Okay. I have an idea. And Ezra grabs a patch off of his robe.
Okay.
Pulls out his dick.
Peels it and sets it on the bar as 10 gems all appear on the bar.
Okay.
That should cover the difference. So.
Okay. What are these gems worth?
100 gold pieces.
100 gold pieces a piece. So that's another 1,000 gold.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gambling on whether or not Victoro can appraise these gems correctly, or gives a fuck, I guess, is the other option.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And smiling politely and confidently in that.
Sure.
I feel like I'm being reasonable in my.
Let us double check.
Why are you evil? The beginning of the betrayal cycle.
Who's
What?
evil? I mean, he's kind of trying to con someone, but
I am bargaining, haggling.
no, bargaining.
I-
Bargaining would be saying, "Hey, I don't think it's worth this much. Will you take this much instead?" You're not trying to bargain or
I'm trying to
haggle.
deceive
You're
him.
trying to
I'm trying to
deceive
deceive
him. Yeah,
Which I'm okay with that too.
that's fine. 100%, absolutely. Okay, so he has a. He's gonna do. I'm just gonna rope this in. He's got a +7.
+7.
He's got an insight. So he has a +7 insight.
Sweet Lord Jesus, this is the big bad evil guy of the campaign, boys.
No, he's a nobleman, right? And he runs businesses, so he's used to people trying to like pull one over on him or get the better half of a deal, right? And he doesn't react immediately. He like you lay at first, right? You do the 2,000 gold thing, and he kind of like gives you these eyes. And he explains the situation, and then you go, oh, and you pull off a patch, and he, as you do that, he kind of like looks at you, and kind of like gives you, oh, interesting, right? This kind of like little appraisal, and then the patch turns into 10 gems, and he's like, he takes a moment, right? Because he's like, is this a trick? Is this? And then he looks over the gems, and he kind of like takes a few moments to appraise the situation, and then he looks back at you and he says,
You're quite short.
he says, I am in need of coin quickly. The only reason I'm willing to part with my assets in such a manner as this. If this is your attempt at bargaining, then let us do so in the open. I will go as low as 3,500, but I can go no lower. I have need of a specific amount of coin. I can gain the remainder in other places if necessary, but being too lax in too many dealings will make that difficult. I'm sorry. 3,500.
I suppose I could part with another 50. That can be amenable.
Okay. All right. So you go the route. Fantastic.
Damn, fucking 24.
You had an you actually legitimately had an opportunity there, because he is kind of scattered at the moment, right? He's dealing with a bunch of things, so there was the chance that you actually like kind of caught him. But I think with the 24, that's a ixnay.
Jeremy just hates me. It's fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. I hate you. That's how it is.
Yep.
Sure.
He
All right.
gave me an iota of excess in a social interaction last week, so now it's back to no, fuck you.
What are you talking about? That was still a success. Friggin', he didn't like get pissed at you or throw you out or anything.
That's because I'm too
That's
pleasant.
true. He did not.
No. So, so you do pay the other 500 gold?
Yeah, 50 platinum.
50 platinum? Okay, fantastic. So he does take it from you, and he again goes through the shaking your hand process. Although this he is a little more reserved now, right? He's a little less chatty. He's a little less friendly towards you. Not rude or anything like that, but you know,
Just business is done.
yeah. Now you've made it very clear that it's business. You know, so now he's fine. It's business. You know. And then he parts. Now Ezra has a Heward's haversack, and now Victoro Castellanter has 3,500 gold.
Jeremy's just over here rolling rare magical bags left, right, and center, not even giving me that uncommon bag of holding.
I actually, again, I rolled.
That's what I'm saying.
For the 3.
You're rolling,
and this time it ended up on the Hewards. Yeah, so it's what it is. Yeah, what you don't know is I actually rolled 15 more fucking
rolls,
fucking holes, like portable holes, and I was like, no, Jake will get mad if I do another portable hole. I did actually.
Literally the only thing I didn't want.
I did actually roll 2 more portable holes before I rolled the Heward's handy haversack. But you had told Mert, right, that was not an object that you were interested in. So I counted those as he found those, or like he got word back about them, and then he was like, nah, that's not what he wants. Keep looking.
I appreciate that, because yes, I would have been annoyed.
Yeah, my intent is not to annoy you, but to simulate a world in which you are an active player. So, Ezra spends some time in the morning visiting the Castellanter Villa and making a deal for Heward's handy haversack. Next up, Matashtai. What is Matashtai doing for the day?
Well, since we're going to be topside for a few days, Matt doesn't really have much he needs to do in town. So he is going to try and get back to his roots and try and do some patrolling around the outskirts of the city, out in the country lands.
Okay.
He's going to actually go up to Cine, and he's going to say, hey there, Cine. Wondering if you could point me in the right direction here. I'm looking to see if there's any villages or farms out near on the outsides of Waterdeep that don't get patrolled that well. Maybe have bandit problems or monster issues or anything like that.
Cine will say, well, there is the Undercliff. There's quite a bit of farmland immediately surrounding the Waterdeep area. The Undercliff is mostly orchards, but it's relatively well patrolled. The city guard doesn't, they don't keep garrisons out past the city, but they do go on frequent patrols throughout the surrounding countryside daily. What are you looking for specifically?
Well, I'm just looking to do some good deeds.
Well, so the city guard itself, the Watch, doesn't quite have this type of program. They frown on vigilantes, especially in he kind of like Cine gets a bit bit cagey for a second, like he's trying to choose words carefully. He says, especially from individuals in your line of work. The City
What's
Watch.
that supposed to mean?
The City Watch has a bit of a reputation for being at odds with adventurers frequently. They find them to be troublemakers just as often as assistants. But the guard, on the other hand, the city guard, right? So the City Watch is like the police force of Waterdeep. The city guard is more like the military of Waterdeep, right? So the Watch is only in the city. The guard patrols the countryside, basically the realm of Waterdeep, right? Waterdeep is kind of a city-state styled country, that type of thing, right? So he will say probably best bet to avoid the Watch if you're interested in anything like this. But the city guard does actually have volunteer groups that you can join. That they granted the work isn't always patrolling, though that does happen on occasion. But it's always civil work, right? Whether it's assistance in building some sort of civil building, or assistance in charity work, or civil like doing work like cleaning places or soup kitchens or other civil servant style things, right? And there are also groups that they put together to assist in patrolling duty. And he'll mention this, right? Especially around now. Now would be, if this is something that you're interested in, now would be a very good time to go see a member of the guard, a representative, right? Go to one of their garrisons and talk to them about it, because Night Howl is coming up. Or Howldown is coming up. Not Night Howl, sorry.
It's Night Howl. Howldown.
Howldown. Howldown is a holiday in the beginning of the next month. It's on the 11th of... the fuck is that thing?
After Uktar.
Yeah, it's the Night All. It's the 11th of Night All. That's why I was thinking Night Howl, because it's Night All. It's Howldown in Night All. So it's what? That's only like 18, 19 days away. That type of thing, somewhere in there. 18,
There's
19
about.
days, right? It is a big. It's a big undertaking. So it's a bunch of different things, right? It's a holiday, but a bunch of different things happen on that holiday. Specifically, what happens with the city guard is they put together massive organizations of patrols to go all throughout the countryside and hunt down monsters, trolls, ogres, bandits, things like that. Right? And it's an effort to kind of like, because villages and hamlets and things like that will get isolated in the winter, right? Because the roads freeze over, the snows get too thick, etc. Right? So what they do is at Night All or at Howldown, they organize these big patrols and they go out and they target what they know to be like the big bad gatherings of people, right? They target bandits that have been building up over the past year. They target places where they know trolls or other monsters to kind of like spawn, that type of thing. And they fucking make it's normally like over the course of several days to a week, right? They just make a trip of it, just slaughtering these people. Or
I don't know
monsters.
About the slaughtering part.
They kill a lot of people during it. It's not exactly like a. Well, I guess that's not true.
Make a trip of it.
So with bandits, right? Like the things
Slaughter.
with bandits in Waterdeep is they do have they have like a. Not, I guess rehabilitation. They have like
Sometimes they wear their
quarries.
faces.
They have like quarries and stuff like that to the north of the city. That if you get convicted of a crime, you work there for a long time. You know?
Sure.
So that's typically what happens to bandits that don't surrender, or that do surrender rather, in fucking Howldown. But Cine basically tells you all about this, right, and informs you that if patrolling with the city guard is something that you're interested in, you might want to look into that, right? Because that will be a good opportunity. Basically, what it boils down to is the people that are really skilled end up being the ones that they send on patrols more frequently, right? Or that they call in to support them if they know something is up and they need assistance, right? So if that's your kind of service, that's the civil service that you want to perform, it's probably going to be a good idea to make a name for yourself during Howldown, because that'll go a long way.
That sounds right up my alley. That's what I grew up doing, so...
If, however, you want to kind of do your vigilante work outside the bounds of the law, he firmly recommends that you do not do it in Undercliff, because, like he said, right, that's still relatively well patrolled, and that you do not do it within the city, because the Watch will absolutely get involved. And not
I think
in a good
I'll
way.
try to stay within the bounds of the law.
He chuckles about it, right, and he just says, just looking after my employers.
Isn't that backwards? Shouldn't the employers be looking after the?
Well, his mindset is he's not. If he doesn't have employers, that's not going to be good for him. So he wants to
I
make
mean,
sure his employers are
Right,
informed.
fair, got it, but
So that being said, right, if that is what you want to do, you can, Cine can direct you to kind of like the nearest garrison if you want to go speak to someone.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll head towards that.
So there is actually a garrison relatively nearby in the field ward. It's this big hub right here. Okay, just down Tower March.
Okay.
Yep.
Where?
It's
Is
this
it
big
outside?
thing right here.
Hold on, let me zoom out because I'm not seeing your ping. Okay, one more time. There it is.
Yep.
Okay. I think I'm gonna head up that way.
Okay, cool, fantastic.
I thank Cine for his help.
He'll think nothing of it. And good luck. All right,
Appreciate it.
Matashtai heads off. Bones, what are you doing in the morning?
sleeping.
No. I'm already awake now. It's fucking already ruined. Ruined.
It's ruined.
It's ruined. It's ruined my day. All right. I will start by going and tracking down Ayatada.
All right, so you go and track down
I'm just gonna show up
Ayatada.
at his house. I'm not sending notes.
Sure, fine.
Wait, who are you tracking down?
Ayatadan Guamiel,
Ayatadan.
That name.
Elven.
He's the fucking
Chanter.
the wizard that does fucking background checks on people.
Yeah, he's the wizard that does background checks on people. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
So you find your way to his
I need a
laboratory
background check.
down Tower March.
Victor.
And you the place is clearly marked, right? And
As
you
one
find
would
it without
expect.
any issue
Someone
because it is on the
So on the up and up.
it's on a main thoroughfare in the North Ward, so it's not like down some back alley or. So you
Sweet.
it says there's a little sign, a little slate sign hanging on the doorway. It says open.
I enter.
Okay, so you open the door, head inside, and you find what is kind of like a rather unremarkable. It's about the size of like a Little Caesars entry, right? Like maybe
Not
like
all Little Caesars are small. I don't understand.
okay. But every Little Caesars I've ever been in with has like a 10-foot space for people to stand in, like a 5 by 10-foot space for people to stand in the front, right? And there's just this little counter, and there's 2 chairs across from the little counter, and everything else is relatively nondescript. It's dark wood. There's very little light in here. No one calls out or anything like that as you come inside.
Is there a bell?
There is actually one of those little ding bells,
As one would expect.
as one would expect.
Bell.
So you ding ding. A heartbeat or 2 pass, and you
Pretty
hit
quick.
you hit the bell, right? Ding ding.
Yes.
And then, like appearing from the side, Ayatadan's head just kind of like comes over. He goes, "Oh, hello!" Like out from the side.
Hello. It's me.
I was
Yes.
wondering after all this time you'd like to meet.
It's you.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Busy morning, but good. You?
Busy. I see. I'm a little tired. Ezra woke me up in the middle of the night.
Ezra. The,
Oh, you don't know. Well, you probably know me, but since you background checked me, the frail one.
Sure.
Disrespect.
Yes. So, I assume you're here about the message.
Yeah, are you at a point where you can talk? Or
Sure, absolutely. I can take a
in the
few
middle
minutes.
of something.
Well, I was was doing a bit of minor work. Nothing overly important. A
I
requisition.
can come back. I can get a scone or something and come
No,
back.
no, absolutely not. I have plenty of time to finish this. I was just trying to get ahead on the project. I had a couple of horseshoes to.
What do you enchant
Fancy.
those for? Flying?
Oh, no, not as much. Possible, but that would be. That'd be
Invisibility?
somewhat more challenging. No, just minor speed enhancements. A speed and stamina. Something to allow the horses to be a little bit more efficient at their duties. It's a common request among many nobles. Though it has to be careful. There are the occasional individuals who try to cheat in races.
I see. Have you ever enchanted them to make horses invisible?
I have not. I've never done invisible.
What about to leave
horses?
cool fire tracks?
I've done to leave no tracks before, but I've never done something to increase the awareness of the tracks. Not sure what the purpose of that would be, but
I mean, the wow factor.
the wow factor. I mean, I suppose. I'd be worried about it being dangerous for the horse, but
I used to know a guy, man, he would have been all about that.
yes, all about the wow factor.
He was all about the wow factor. Owns a submarine now.
I'm sorry, I'm not quite familiar. A submarine?
Yeah, it's a boat that goes under the water.
How interesting.
So it sinks?
so
Let's call
so
some
it
boat,
doesn't
right?
do what a boat's supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, it does it better. Kind of. Objectively.
I don't
When
know
it
that
doesn't
Big
blow
Belty
up.
does it better.
When it's not exploded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so on to business then.
Sure. I've been very excited to talk to you actually. After speaking to some of your colleagues, they seem to think that you were a bright young mind with many ideas.
Do
That's a
have
nice
a
thing to
lot of
say.
ideas. Yeah, that is a nice thing to say. So I keep finding just stuff. And
He kind of his eyes glow. He says, "Tell me, what kind of stuff? What are we talking about? What are we getting our hands on here?"
I'm so glad you asked, because my friends, they're not interested in my stuff. And
They'll be interested in your stuff when your stuff is actually stuff they can use.
look, it's stuff now. It's like, all right, cool, let's get into this. I just start taking
Lots
stuff
of
out.
parts and bones.
I start taking stuff. Rust monster antenna, vials of goo,
So he
lots
doesn't.
of, a ton of bones.
I was gonna say he doesn't know
Dragon
everything
scales.
by like sight, so you have to explain what some of the things are.
No, I'll tell 'em. Awesome dragon, gold, bronze. What else I have?
So I will
Oh,
say,
I've
in
got
general.
Jet, garnet.
Oh, okay, like gotcha. In general, he's not
I've got a
overly.
bar stool.
He's not a bar stool. He's not overly interested in like
I sit down on that.
your bone materials, right?
I Yeah, no. So I see him not interested in the bones. I get it. Not interested in the bones.
He will say there are some creatures that have inherent magical properties, sure, and those perhaps would be interesting, or maybe just extremely rare creatures would be interesting, that type of thing. And I'm sure there are plenty of bones that have
sure.
enchantments upon
Right?
them.
No, but the bones are.
I was thinking the bones were more your part of the shtick, and the materials otherwise would be more my part.
But you said you wanted to see my interesting things, and
oh yes, of course.
most
Definitely still interesting. I'm very interested to see what you'll want to make from them.
I put my bones up, slightly dejected.
But he is super interested in a lot of the other stuff that you put out, except for the bar stool. Not interested.
Grappling hook.
He's not interested in grappling hook either.
Bronze mask of Halaster Blackcloak.
He is minorly interested in that because he thinks it's enchanted initially, but because he feels like residual magic off of it, but it's not. Not really interested in the antlers. That's more of a you thing. But he basically he will look over your materials. He's he finds the rust luster antidotes interesting, right? He finds the poison interesting. He tells you, right, like those types of materials are materials he can use as inspiration or basis for magical enchantments, those types of things. And the gems, right? He can always use the gems as foci or focuses, right? In order to assist his efficiency in making certain enchantments. And you and I can discuss that at a later date. I think that's maybe something we can tack on to things. So what I would imagine is if you supply him with gems that are not directly used by the enchantment, right? Like a ruby being some sort of fire enchantment, right? If you supply him with gems to use in an enchantment that aren't directly tied to the enchantment, what he can do is he can use those gems to kind of like help increase his focus and perhaps like cut down the time it takes to enchant things or something like that, right?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I was just gonna mount them and shit.
So, well, I want to look for like mechanical benefits for you to like supply him with different materials, So, you and I can talk about that again. We'll take a cursory look over that. But for now, right, he kind of like goes over things and he's excited about it and he talks to you about it. But he kind of eventually he gets to the point of, okay, well, what's the first project?
Well, anyway, so right now I'm kind of running into a problem in the dungeon where my bow and weapons, they're great, they're awesome, but they're not sharp enough, durable enough.
He looks at you and he says, they looked quite sharp. I mean, granted, I'm not exactly an expert on that field. I'm sure you are much more knowledgeable in that scenario, but they didn't seem...
For example, it's very hard to cut an air elemental with one of my daggers.
He goes, yes, a different problem entirely, I think. You mean, and of course, we know player-wise what you mean, right?
You know.
So he goes through the process of explaining to Bones what he thinks Bones means, right? The issue is that Bones is not utilizing magical weaponry, and therefore there are monsters who have... Odie! That is my microphone!
Monsters
You quit
that.
that!
Odie?
You quit that! There are monsters who... There are monsters who are resistant to non-magical weaponry,
He's
basically.
about to tap right now.
He's gonna tap as soon as you stop paying attention to him.
Absolutely, he is. A little butthole. Oh,
Cool.
he's
You
nice.
think you could?
Good man.
I have one thing that is. It was supposed to be a short sword, but it broke, so now it's just a dagger. But it's a good dagger. Do you think you can enchant that?
With just like a basic magical enchantment to assist you in that endeavor? Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, that's definitely a possibility. And he'll say this, right? He doesn't, his demeanor doesn't change, but he'll say, I hope that's not all you're really seeking. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand doing this type of thing on occasion, but this is really more...
Mundane? I know.
Yes, and he says, again,
I haven't
I
had any time to
absolutely
work on
understand your
anything.
need
They
for
never
it,
let me out of
but
the dungeon.
just throwing the party under the bus. And he says, as long as you're interested in experimenting with other things, because that's really where I'm interested in this partnership.
I said, okay, let me tell you what I've been thinking about the most. And I pull out some Wyvern.
Okay.
More Wyvern tea.
How many teeth did you take?
Yeah, he took
I
a
had
bunch.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had 20 of them. And then I pull out some Manticore.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, look, do you know how Wyvern are really territorial? Wyvern
He's-
are really territorial?
He says, I've heard. I'm not an expert, but
What
yes.
if I put these Wyvern teeth attached to these Manticore claws? I mean, the claws, they're just going to be cool weapons. I'll just be honest with you there.
Okay.
These are
what
gonna
if
be
we
cool as
atta-
hell.
And what if I was the Wyvern's territory? So when I throw it, they come back.
Kind of like, he mulls it over in his head and he says, not sure. We can definitely try. I'm not sure that's a strong enough. The creature obviously is a powerful creature, but I'm not sure it has that magical nature really to reinforce the enchantment.
Magic. Got it. Okay, I'll
So,
think
like
on that
for
one.
example,
Okay.
like like you had those antenna, right, from the rust monster. So I could make you a weapon that has that property, right? Has the property of rusting
Hey,
or
I make the
corroding
weapons
metal.
here, all right.
Or sorry, I could enchant an object that you bring to me with that effect, right?
I make the weapon.
So with the Wyvern teeth, mayhaps we could do something about the territory, but for me, that screams more along the lines of like excluding someone from it, like they're territorial, right? So perhaps we could make something that drives a creature away or locks it in place, prevents it from advancing or something.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like a super paralyzed dagger.
And he notes, he says, well, on the subject of paralysis, right, you brought this toxin, and I believe that its base effect is paralysis. So I could use
Yes,
that.
I got that from carrion crawlers.
And he kind of like, he mulls that over and he says, yes, that makes sense. I think we could combine the two, perhaps, to have an amplified effect there.
That's a very interesting idea. Very interesting.
Unfortunately, I am very interested in doing things for you, but I have a limited amount of time and other clientele that I must work with, so I can really only take on or focus on one project at a time. I can take on several, but if I have more than one project at a time, that's going to eat into the time I can spend on each one. So basically, he's telling you, right, like if you want it in a reasonable amount of time, the best bet is to work on one project at a time, right?
Yeah, no, these are just ideas I've had.
Sure,
Hey, also,
absolutely.
what if I took those scales and I bent them around?
This is dragon. Most dragon material is highly magical, so absolutely we can definitely do something with it. What were you thinking?
And I got those scales as gifts.
Oh, really?
Gifts from the dragons. Yeah, they liked me.
Very interesting.
I don't know if that matters.
I'm
It
not
might matter. It
sure,
mattered to
but
me.
I can check into it.
Cool. So anyway, how do you, I mean, what, like, flat fee, retainer, 50-50 on things sold? What do you want to do?
Well, I had assumed most of the work I would be doing would just be for you, not to resell the items. So,
Yeah, I have no intention of selling anything. It was.
I mean, that's
another
absolutely
option.
something we can discuss later on down the road. If this partnership blossoms and we really enjoy working together, then I could definitely see us. I assume eventually you'll find a time where you're finding things and that you don't necessarily like we could make a
All
magic
the
item from
time.
them, but you're not really interested in that item, then we could turn around and sell it. Absolutely. So for him, you and I have that little sheet.
Yeah, I've got it.
So he'll discuss with you, right? We don't need to go into crazy detail mechanically on the stream, but he'll go into
Awesome.
detail with Bones about, right, like this is how long it'll take him to do things. This is about how much it'll cost, right? So a common item taking 2 work days and costing 50 gold. What you're looking at initially, right, with the basically a +1 magic weapon, is an uncommon item, so that'll take him 5 days and cost 200 gold for the enchantment costs. So
It's uncommon.
but that's
What, aren't I a journeyman though?
Are you? Yeah, you are journeyman. So he has it has the
So
reduced
wouldn't it be half
time.
the time?
Yep. So it has the reduced time. But that's being said, this already has an item. You already have an item for this that you're planning, right?
Yeah.
Which one is that? Remind me.
We were shuttering my Manticore Humorous Rare project to
Gotcha.
do this.
Okay, fantastic. So you've already turned that into a dagger, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So if basically, if that's the project you want to discuss with him first, he should be able to have it done in about 2.5 days. That. Ooh, wait, hold. That is not the case. His time, the 2.5 days, the reduced time is your time to craft. His enchantment time stays the same. That's where I was going to talk to you about maybe like the jewels,
what
adding
are
in jewels or
items
things like that.
of sufficient power to complement the enchantment?
So I think what that'll probably be is that'll be the different tiers of jewels. So
You want this jet? Can you do it faster with this jet?
how much
Will it
is the
make it
jet?
Cool and black? I don't know. Like 50? I don't know. It just says black. Jet.
It's
Opaque, deep black.
5,000 platinum.
No, that is a jet is 100 gold gem.
Okay.
I was a little off.
Just a little. Nice attempt, though.
That's sufficient.
Uh-oh.
I just don't know how I'm gonna get them to wait for 2.5 more days. Does today count?
Actually, today
I know
is
you're busy today.
today is
but-
enough. Today is absolutely early enough that he could get it done in a day. I fucked up my what I did to screw this up. I like full screened my damn thing, guys, and I can't get it undone. That's okay. I'll fix it later. So what I had in mind was the concept of it being based off of the because you know how there are basically there are tiers of gems. So there's the 10 GP gems aren't going to count. They're not pure enough. They're not important enough to count as foci. But you have the 50 GP gems, right? Then you have the 100 tier. Then you typically have what? It's the 300 tier. And then 500 and then 1,000 and then anything over that is crazy rare, right? So we'll have to play with it. I would say in this scenario, the jet absolutely is enough to reduce the time. I think what I would go with is a 50 reduces a common by a day, and a 100 reduces an uncommon by a day, and basically I would probably tier it up each way. And I would say you can only reduce it to a certain point. I'm not sure though. You and I will have to talk about that. Let's go with this for now. Let's go for this for now because we already have a reduced time frame as the concept behind something that is in place for you, and that's your crafting rank. So the higher your crafting rank, the less time it takes for you to craft something. So let's go with the concept of using that same reduced time for now. So if you give him this jet, which is an extra 100 gold in the process, basically, we'll say that it reduces the time by half for now. So that'll be 2.5 days instead of 5 days for your enchantment time. I don't know that that's what we're going to stick on,
Okay,
mind
whatever.
you. Okay, but we'll do that for now. We'll say if we need to at a later date, we'll say like he's doing a rush job for you in this particular situation because it's the start of a partnership. He wants to impress you, that type of thing. But I think you and I can come to some sort of arrangement around the feeding him basically feeding him additional gold, but it can't just be gold, right? It has to be precious materials, right?
Yeah.
To increase the
cool.
time.
Yeah, hey, and if it turns black, I'm not going to be upset, just so you know.
Turns black. Oh, from the jet? He says,
Yeah.
Do you want it to turn black? I mean, would you prefer I try to turn it black?
I mean, if it's not too much trouble.
I can absolutely try to make it black. I said it'll be a fun little experiment.
Sounds good to me.
Sure. All right, so you go through the process. Do you have the 200 gold to pay him right now? I don't think he actually cares. I think he's fine with you, like. Well, no, I'll say that he does care. We want payment up front so that he can, have because he's going to use part of that for materials for the enchanting.
Okay. I hand him 20 platinum.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So
Sweet.
he'll take that.
I guess I'll be back in 2.5 days ish.
It says, "Well, feel free to come by before then if you'd like to check on the progress and everything like that, or to just chat about things. I'm here most days, just working on enchantments and playing around with different
Lots of new
ideas.
friends.
So
I
by all
thought you were a
means,
watchman most days.
Putting out
You're an
olive
enchanter
branch.
most days?
well, I have my cycles through the watch. I'm on a shift,
Oh.
so anytime that I'm not on a working shift for the watch, I'm typically here doing enchantment work. And he'll let you know that's typically he's on a shift for the North Ward, 2 days out of 10.
Ah. Got it. Dope. I look forward to an interesting partnership.
He says,
I guess I'll just like
do-
let you know what cool stuff I found, and I'll think about it. And you
absolutely
can think about
fantastic. I will try to whenever you let me know about things, I'll try to come up with ideas and we can.
I like that.
split-
I like
spitball
that
things back and
super
forth.
shadow paralysis dagger. That was super cool.
He says, "Yes, I'll see if I can't like maybe draw out some concepts of what all it might be able to do.
You want me to leave my bottle of carrion crawler goo with you? For you need to test it. You need to test it.
He'll say, absolutely. You can leave whatever you'd like with me. I have storage locations to separate all of the different clients' materials that I work with. So
Would gelatin ooze help? I've got some of that too.
gelatin ooze. What is it?
It's ooze from a giant or
Oh, from the gelatinous cube.
This gelatinous
Yeah.
cube.
He says,
Yeah.
I
it's marked
not,
as a vial of gelatin ooze.
He says, I'm not sure what I would do with it necessarily, but you absolutely can leave it, and I can experiment with it if you would like.
All right, I leave it.
So
This is a
anything
man
that
who
you leave with
loves his
him,
word.
keep. Like, absolutely don't take it off of like your sheets or your lists or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just
But-
gonna mark that he
Yeah,
has
just
it.
notate that you've left it with
Like-
him.
Put an asterisk on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, cool.
All right, man. Cool. Like, thanks. I'll see you later.
Says, absolutely. I'll see you in a few days at least.
Hey, man, come by the bar. We'll get a drink and talk about crazy stuff we can do.
Oh, he says, I'm a little busy tonight, but I'll definitely stop by.
Yeah, that's cool.
They're both.
And then as I'm
so
walking,
awkward.
out the door, I say, "Oh shit. Okay, hey, hold on. Actually, Ezra wanted me to ask you.
Ezrah, the frail one, right?
Yeah, the frail one who wakes people up at odd time. I swear to you, it was at like 3 a.m. He's like, Bones, I'm wide awake. I
I would
need you to do
consider
me this
it.
favor. I agree. I worked late. I was making stuff, and he just wakes me up. I'd just gone to sleep. Anyway, so he was looking for some spell scrolls Am I saying that correct? Spell scroll.
Spell scrolls, yes. Absolutely. I do dabble on the occasion. It's easy money, honestly. It kind of just depends on what he's looking for. Did he send anything with you?
He did. Hold on. I rummaged through my pack. Obviously, I didn't put it in the bag of holding. 'cause that would be easy.
Someone send to me what I'm looking at, because I have no idea.
I rummaged through my pack. The paper bird comes out. The scroll comes out. Okay, I got it. A detect magic and identify. Identify.
Yes, right. Detect magic and identify. I do have the ability to craft both of those. Let me double check. This freaking thing is. Guys, I have made it to where my somebody technically help me. I've made it to where my browser is trying to
F12. Press it.
full screen every single time. That did not work.
Press 11.
F11.
F11. That worked.
F11.
There we go.
I said it while I was muted.
Oh,
So
shit.
now
Oh,
I'm-
too bad.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So
I've
silent,
been like
motherfucker.
occasionally just pressing buttons across the top of my row. Like, which one is it? Damn it.
Jeremy,
I
you
had
should
not-
press
press
F11.
escape.
I had not gotten down to F11.
It's F11.
You should
Um,
press Alt F4.
No, I know that one.
Wow.
I know that one, and that is me. So there is a.
Back when I used to play randos in
We'll set
on
those.
Xbox Live Arcade,
Only if you just
That-
like
that
have
would-
them ready though.
come up a lot. It's like, how you do this? Oh, you just press Alt F4. It's like,
Oh, he
wrong
doesn't-
console, you fucking idiot.
He doesn't want things. He doesn't want things crafted for him. He only wants them if they're readily available.
No, I just don't want it to cut into the time it's going to take to do my thing.
It's not on the same like scale. Of
Oh,
time.
okay then. I was going to lie and say that couldn't be found.
Oh,
I was
shit.
prepared to go that far.
That's harsh. I'm just looking up the rules quick. Yeah.
I'm just trying to help you out.
Identify and dispel magic are both first level, right?
Yes.
He doesn't have any on hand, but he can
Not
have
dispel magic, it's detect magic.
detect magic. Still first level, right?
Yeah.
So he
That was
does.
the third one.
He doesn't have any on hand, but he can have them. He can scribe them over the course of the. It'll take him a day each for each one, and
Good.
it will be 25
Perfect.
gold. Oh, nope, it'll be 50 gold per.
I assume I was giving money for this, so I give him Ezra's money.
Was he given money for this? Okay, he was
know.
not given money for this. Bones, you were not given
Um,
money.
Say
Um,
we will pay when we pick them up.
He says that's fine. It doesn't. I have the resources on hand, though. I would say in the future, if possible, I'd prefer payment upfront.
I agree. He's very inconsiderate. This just
You should-
tacks on
you
the
should
Well,
way
I
I
mean-
feel about him.
You should get a pay scale.
Maybe he didn't know. So for
Oh, he
first
knew what he was
levels, it's
about.
50 gold. I can basically tell you guys. For first levels, it's 50 gold in a day. For second levels, it's 3 days and 500 gold, I believe. And then every level after that, it starts to get significantly higher. Third level is a 10-day and 1,000 gold. Fourth level is 2 10 days and 5,000 gold. So it starts to get pricey quickly.
I'll tell you what, whoever invents the printing press in Faerun is going to be a very rich man.
Well, it's the fact that like so if you read the lore behind like spells and scrolls and everything like that, a single spell is like a page of arcane writing and magical ink and magical parchment, right?
It's an arcane print press, Jeremy. Come
Oh,
on.
of course it is.
You just take
Absolutely.
arcane
I
paper,
forget.
pull it up, arcane ink,
Yeah,
into the press.
absolutely. It doesn't take, any amount of skill or knowledge or anything like that either.
It's a
somebody has
lich.
to man the machine, sure.
Scrolls, low-level scrolls are very cheap and very easy to produce, and you guys can get a bunch of them. It's just as soon as you start getting past 3rd level, they start taking much longer to produce, and they start getting much more pricey. And the whole reason is
Same
because
for weapons.
it's
and
a single shot burst. Yeah, exactly. Same for potions. Like super low-level potions, super cheap. High-level potions, super expensive because what they can grant you in that limited space of time, it can be a game changer, right? So, anyways, Eataden will tell you that he'll have those done. If you want to pick them up separately at separate times, he'll have the. He doesn't know which. Did he have a preference on which one first? Did he tell you?
No.
I'll work on the identify first and the detect magic second.
Agreed.
All right.
I appreciate your diligence.
If you want to pick them up all in when you come and get the weapon, that's fine. You can pick them up then, or if you want them beforehand, you can come pick up the identification tomorrow. Probably around this time tomorrow. I should have it done without any.
Oh yeah, we'll probably just get it all at once, honestly.
All right, fantastic.
All right. Anyway, cool. I look forward to this. You're the best. I snap at him.
Well,
point him.
thank you. I appreciate that. It's very nice to finally get to work with you, Bones.
Agreed.
Good luck out there. I'll see you in a few days.
I've got to go see a man about a sword, and I leave.
All right. So that is we've done a ring around Rosie, and I think we'll go ahead and take a break real quick. Take a break. I need to go potty, and we can come back and do some more downtime. So, we'll see everybody in a few minutes. Bye. everybody, we're back from break, and we're just gonna jump right back into things with still going to round table. Ashes, you've spent a good portion of your morning buying winter gear for everyone. What are you doing with the rest of your day?
Well, unfortunately, not really knowing too many people with any kind of talents that he's looking for. The only person he knows is someone in the Yawning Portal, so he's just gonna start making his way down south to the Yawning Portal.
Okay, so you head to the Yawning Portal, right? When you get there, here's a fun thing, because I think this might be one of the first times this has actually happened, at least for this group, or at least in a while, right? You get there, and people see you and recognize you, right? Bonnie recognizes you, Durnan recognizes you, plenty of those people recognize you, right? But other, just like, tavern goers see you
Like,
and recognize you.
Randos that, I
Yeah,
don't know
people
who they
that
are.
you may be passing familiar with, you're starting to recognize faces, right? These are people that come to the Yawning Portal day in, day out to drink and socialize, right? They're more like a
That's
bolo
right.
thamp than anything else, right? They're not adventurers, or some of them are maybe retired adventurers or things like that, but they come here to hang out. But they're starting to recognize you as a person that is going down into the dungeon frequently,
On a
right?
regular basis.
And you haven't died yet, right? You've been going down for about a week now, or over a week
Yeah,
now.
I'm assuming some people made some money on the Deadpool.
Exactly, right? So when you come in, right, and everyone else isn't with you, there's a series of like hushed whispering, right? And then a bunch of people start to kind of like point out over at you and kind of like, yeah, give you like raised mugs and cheers, right? They're now assuming that you're becoming indoctrinated. You're becoming one of them, right? You're
lost
showing
your
up to the Yawning Portal on a day that you're not adventuring. So they're like,
misread
one of us, one of us.
I was like, hey, they fucking died. Good job surviving.
I thought that's what it was. I
No,
definitely-
nope. No, they don't think your party's dead or anything like that. They're just like, oh, this guy is, hey, he's back and he's not adventuring. What does that mean? So
Yeah, I'm busy prepping for adventuring to be adventuring right now.
well, you know, they don't actually know what's going on. They're a
Yeah.
bunch of drunks. So.
Right.
What do you actually
but-
want to be doing here?
I mean, I'll walk over to. I'm assuming it's getting kind of close to lunches or whatever.
Yeah,
Or
sure.
at least it's still like late morning.
Yeah, absolutely. You haven't.
I'll
It
walk
wouldn't
up
take you
to
much.
the tavern or to the bar, and if Bonnie's around or whatever, I'll see if I can't get
Sure.
like whatever the food, the menu item is, the common menu item for the day is.
Gotcha. So yeah, absolutely. She'll feel free to take your money, a silver, right? Just to
Done.
hang out and eat.
Okay. And I want to start looking around. Is Three Strings around?
Three Strings is around in the back corner of kind of. So the bar is this big L, right? And there's a second and a third floor, but the common room, the base common room, is this big L, huge open section around the Yawning Portal itself, right? And then another long kind of like feast hall area that goes back. That's the leg of the L. Three Strings is almost always towards the back because there's a little stage back there.
Yeah.
So he's almost always around there, playing his little three-stringed lute.
I'll approach Three Strings, but I won't like intrude if he's like playing something or
He's just
looking
kind
like
of
he's-
idly plucking. He's not like he
I'll-
doesn't have a
I'll-
crowd or anything like that. So
like I'll make eye contact with him like I intend to speak.
he'll shoot you. Hey.
Hey.
And he makes it kind of obvious. He says, "Hey, you," right? Like he
Yeah.
recognizes you, but he doesn't know you.
Yeah, he doesn't know me.
Yeah.
So I'll walk up. Hey, listen, I'm Ashes. you may know some of my friends.
You may have heard him.
Bones. Oh, actually, does he know Bones? Did he
I
only
think he
know
knows-
Gad and?
Yeah, I think he knows of Bones, but I think it's mostly Ezra now.
Yeah, but he knows Ezra for sure. And I'll be like, you remember Ezra, right?
Yeah.
And I think he had a friend that was also someone in your line of work. His name was like Daffodil.
Sure.
Right. Anyways, I have need of someone with your knowledge for your craft.
He's like, he looks down at the loot and he says, "This craft?"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
questioning,
absolutely.
like there's a different option that you might be
Yeah,
asking
he's like,
about.
Do you know how to read music?
Absolutely, yes.
You mind if I have you look at something for me?
Sure.
I'll pull out my little black book and I'll start flipping through it, and I'll go to the where I wrote down the measures and notes of the tune that the harpsichord
Yeah.
ate Ezra's hands, and I'll show him that, and I'll be like, "Does this make sense to you? Does this seem like a song that one could easily play? Is it complicated?
Oh, well, I
or
don't
can
know
it
that it's
easily play?"
easy to play. It's not overly complex. It's more than a beginner's talent. But
Pay
Well,
him to come down in the dungeon
Here's
with
the
us.
deal. We found a harpsichord in the Undermountain,
interesting.
and our mutual friend Ezra tried to play this piece of music, and I'm not sure if you saw us when we came out the last time, or if you had a keen enough eye to notice his
Oh,
phalanges.
I don't remember much of yesterday, actually.
Drunk?
Fair enough. But I was wondering if it would be easy enough to teach someone with basically no experience how to play this on a harpsichord.
Oh, you're serious? With no experience?
Yeah, no experience apparently gets you skeletal hands, but
Skeletal hands?
yeah, it curses you. If you play it wrong, it takes your hand.
Why do you want to touch this thing at all?
Because
Just gotta
I'm
be
assuming if you
professional.
play this piece of music, we will be rewarded with stuff.
It's true.
Like, he puts his head in his hands for a second. He's just like,
Classic adventurer mindset.
yeah, absolutely, right? He does that thing. He's just like,
If we
"Fucking
do this
adventurers.
stupidly dangerous thing, we will be rewarded.
We
with
will be
things.
rewarded with stuff."
No idea
It may
what
not
it
be
is.
valuable or
That's half
useful,
the
but it
fun.
will exist.
Oh,
Likely.
he says, "I."
You dumb.
It would.
Take 3 days of music lessons, Ashes.
I mean, it would. It might take a while, but I mean,
3 days. You have 2.5 days.
I could teach someone. I mean, we'd have to go somewhere.
Jeremy,
there's not a harpsichord here.
Would he have to try?
What?
You could teach him, but he'd have to try.
I mean,
Get out of here.
I gotta say
We're
this
not
is really
bringing
outside my
boys to the yard.
say comfort zone, but
Oh, I mean,
if
did you
could
mean
take
someone
my-
else?
I'm trying to think.
You
Bones.
want to teach Ezra how to do it now?
I was about to say Bones. Probably not interested in playing an instrument. Ezra probably doesn't want to ever look at that harpsichord ever
He
again.
probably never wants to touch it again.
I'm a craftsman.
Matt.
I need my hand.
Maybe Matt would like to learn. That seems he might want to
That's
try to
just
learn.
dumb
an
enough to do
instrument.
it.
You're not wrong. That's kind of hurtful.
But I don't know if you'd want to play a cursed instrument. I might have to take this one.
I mean, you're already cursed. How
Yeah, you
much
already
more
could,
curse can
man.
you get?
So
Yeah, maybe you can like wolf out right before you play it and
It says-
resist the.
oh, dude,
Oh,
that
do you
turned
have
into a
do you have any experience with any instrument?
I do not.
I mean,
I
do
absolutely 100% have never.
do any of your
even s-
compatriots? Because it's going to be a lot easier to teach someone who at least knows how an instrument works. No offense or
Would
anything. I'm
Ashes-
willing.
Would Ashes remember if Ezra said he had any like past experiences? Okay, no.
He sure did act like he did, though.
Fake it until you make it, bitches.
He
Right?
didn't make it though.
I came close.
Look.
Did
th-
you?
I actually
this
don't
does
know if
sound
any
really
of you
awkward,
do
but
have.
I
any-
would at least like to try. Here's the thing. All my companions have some things to do up topside here, and I'm not really involved as much up here. Maybe
You
this
would
would
do good
be
deeds.
something I could do
Make
to kind of pass the time. How much would it take to hire your tutorage in the art of music?
He says. A while since I've really given lessons. I mean, I talk about giving lessons all the time. He looks at you and he says, "Favored tactic," but actually giving the lessons tends to be very rare.
If it makes it any easier, I'm not super worried about being proficient. I just would like to know how to play this one piece.
Well, so I think that's what
2.5
is
days.
it's gonna take, right? Is you're gonna have to gain proficiency in an instrument, assuming the harpsichord. Though I think Matrim, I think Three Strings will say, as long as it could be, you could gain proficiency in a different instrument. He just needs to teach you the basics of music, right? And then you need to practice them
Like,
on the harpsichord.
if you can, like, this note is G. Here's G on a keyboard.
Uh-huh.
I can be like, okay, this is G. This is F.
And,
I can-
you try to say that to him, right? And he's like, look, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but making music is a little more involved than just ba 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 ba. You have to understand how it works together and flows together. You can't just press the buttons on the board and expect it to actually work.
Tell him to come down to the dungeon with us.
Right. I get
Um,
you.
That being said, though, I'd be willing to teach you. How quickly do you need this done?
What is? When were we saying we were going back down?
I refuse to go back sooner than 2.5 days.
Now that's been established, I assume.
So 2.5. So we're either going back
Counting
on the
today.
26th or the 27th, right?
It
Yeah,
counts
counting
today.
Counting today's counting.
Today's the 23rd.
Well, we might as well just stay till the 30th and get the magic shop refreshed then.
If we stay till the 30th,
No, we want to go down and try and get enough money to buy that amulet.
Before the
I have
30th,
enough
that
money
was
If
to
we
buy
can
the
get that amulet, that would really help me.
How much is the amulet?
a lot.
Quite a bit.
like
Like
12K or
20K
something
gold.
like that. Oh, is it 20?
Pull it up.
I don't think it was 20.
I thought it was like 12 or
It
something.
could have been 12.
What was
I
the name
thought
of
it
the
was
amulet?
more than
By the
Health?
way, the end of
It's
the
at
month.
11.
Hold on.
The end of the
I
month
can
is the
afford it.
28th. By the way, it's not the 30th.
Can afford it?
Yes.
Can we
You
buy
can
it?
afford 11K right now?
Uh-huh.
Spend your damn money.
I'm saving it. I'm opening a business. Get out of here.
Jesus.
We have a business. I
Side
want
business.
another.
It's a side hustle.
I feel so poor with my like 2K.
I'm not much wealthier, bro.
I've got 4K and I don't buy anything.
I have
Yeah, how did you get 11K?
I've got 3K and I'm about to spend a
11,160.
bunch
think
of
you did
Oh,
some
I
bad
know.
math.
No, I know how he got 11K because he still has money left over from Dragon Heist. That's how he got 11K.
Right, carried over. I saved
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah, I dropped a big purchase on a Supreme or Superior healing.
Yeah,
potion or something.
Ezra dropped most of his money from Dragon Heist already, and
Well,
he
I
had to
will
like
say,
build back up. Bones did
Tomorrow
not.
we're getting 4 graders. The 28th, we're getting the 6. That's where my money went. I paid for 6 potions of greater healing.
I don't know how much it's going to cost to hire a person to assist me. All right,
Oh,
I mean, that's fine. We can still stick with Plan A and try to get
11K.
okay.
Actually, I don't know when it.
I'm gonna work with you.
28 on the
So
spreadsheet.
so
I
while
don't know
we've
if
been
it goes
having this
farther.
conversation, Jay, I've been looking up rules, and I'm gonna work with you on this, right? So
Yeah.
by rules, right? And these are from the Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Training, receiving training in a language or tool typically takes at least 10 work weeks.
God damn.
That's 100 days, Jeremy.
But this
Jesus
time,
Christ.
this time is reduced by a number of work weeks equal to the player's intelligence modifier.
What? No.
Remember that chance when you had to swap from wisdom to intelligence? With
I
the-
We're all
It's-
dumb as fuck
mine
in
is-
this
it's-
party.
it's-
We're the
it's an
dumb
eight.
boy party.
My modifier's minus
I
1.
take offense to
Oh,
that.
So wait,
So-
so does that
so-
mean I increase
6.
the
It's a
time?
+3.
an
Oh,
an
okay.
intelligence
pretty
penalty
good then.
doesn't increase the time needed.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Training costs 25 gold per work week, right? And that is to gain a proficiency in a language or a tool. In this case, the tool would be a musical instrument. Okay. I think that if you want to do this, right? 3 Strings will tell you that he thinks he can get you to the point to where you should be able to play this without,
Being double cursed.
right?
Without being a bone boy.
Without that, in a week, basically. And he's willing to do that, right?
Hmm.
The thing about it is, right, and it doesn't have to be consecutive. It can be over the course of broken up days, right here or there. So, like, if you wanted to do, like, 3 days now, and then the next time you guys had downtime, you spend another couple days with him, that type of thing. But that will basically get you the ability to play the song correctly on the harpsichord, but it's not going to give you proficiency with a new tool.
I
right?
do not care
However,
about
if
the
you
proficiency.
want to, right, you can keep track of that as proficiency towards the tool going down the road.
Okay.
So that's if you want to do that, Matrim is willing to do that with you.
It's odd. I know it's an odd request. I understand this is an odd situation.
Sure.
But adventure is gonna adventure.
Adventure is gonna adventure, absolutely.
Why don't we just
Okay,
get
and,
fucking
how much did he want
Shapeshift
for
Man
his
to come down? He can already
tutelage?
play instruments.
25 gold per
I
work week.
will-
So so it's only going to take 1 work week to do this, so
Yep.
he'll take 25 gold and that'll be
I'll
that.
go ahead and I'll give him money up front.
Fantastic. He looks at you and he says, "You want to get started? I know a place down the road that we can pop over to. It's a kind of a rundown theater, but they'll let me use the piano there. It's close enough."
Sure. That sounds good. Let's go ahead and get this started.
Fantastic. Okay, so you spend basically you head over there, right? He will probably like grab a early lunch with you on his way over, that type of thing, or whatever, and then you spend about 8 hours
Tickling the ivory.
having your first musical interactions. So
I
Ashes,
come back and I show everybody I learn how to play chopsticks.
Oh, yeah, if you were lucky, you learned to play chopsticks on your first day. I mean, you learned to play chopsticks on your first day. It's just you played it
I'm
very
pretty sure-
crappily.
Literally, all of us here can play chopsticks.
You think so? Play it or play it well. Play it
Play.
well enough that you think your hands wouldn't get melted off by an enchanted harpsichord.
Look, We're talking about real life. There's no such thing as enchanted harpsichords.
Okay, I'm just saying. So, all right, you can mark down 1 day on your route to learning
100
this
days
song.
of harpsichord.
No, 10
All right.
days. 10 days
days total.
for this song.
1 day of harpsichord.
All right. Next up on the list is Ezra.
Yeah.
You're muted.
You're muted.
I'm not muted.
Ezra is going to make his way to the Font of Knowledge
All right. Fantastic.
with his sketch of the incomplete magic circle.
Cool. All right. So you get there, and you actually you spent a lot of time at the Font of Knowledge. You were known there. I mean, you're not like you walk in and everyone's like, "Oh God, it's Ezra! Yay!" But like enough people know you there that they're like, "Oh, hey Ezra, how you been? We haven't seen you."
The
a little
person
bit."
with vitiligo kind of stands out.
Yeah, a little bit, right? I mean, yes, it kind of stands out, but it's also Waterdeep, so there are thousands of people with crazy everythings, so you don't stand out as much as you might think, right? Especially not in a place like the Font of Knowledge, because this is the place where all the weirdos go. Fucking nerds.
That's right, bitch. Represent.
Hell yeah! All right, but you head into the Font of Knowledge. What's your plan? You're gonna do some research.
I am looking to hopefully find someone with arcane knowledge, whether it be a student of arcane lore, to help dissect how to problem solve this puzzle.
Research, yes, gotcha. All right, fantastic. So, in your research, what's this gonna take? Roll.
I would be most appreciative if this was a persuasion or deception.
You can roll me.
I would like this to be a thing I'm good at.
I mean, I'm good at a lot of things. I'm just best at those.
It's not going to be that because you're not going to have any trouble getting people to assist you, right? Because there are people that do that here. That's what they do.
All right.
but-
I'll allow Arcana, History, or Investigation.
You will
He'll allow
take
it.
what I give you.
Giggity.
Religion.
Giggity.
Religion or nothing.
And in this
Animal
particular
handling.
animal handling.
Animal
Hey,
handling.
oh no, that is negative. Wisdom is my weak point.
In this particular case,
Animal
because of what
handling.
you are looking for, the information that you are looking for, it is an Arcana check. Your DC is 15. So this is going to take an 8-hour stint of talking to people, researching, going over a couple of different books, finding the right people, etc. And you succeed. So at the end of the day, what you've basically done is you've talked to a couple of different people, you've done a little bit of research on your own, and then you've kind of gotten a little like a little brainstorming group together that are ping-ponging ideas back. And with that situation, you're able to kind of fill out this magic circle. Basically, you identify that it is a magic circle, a seal of some sort, right? And that it is incomplete, and you go so far as to you come away with a kind of a rough draft of what it would take to complete that circle.
In this conversation, do I know if there's any special components I need to specific materials to?
So typically, what you'll need is some sort of substance to complete the circle with, right? Whether that's magical ink or blood, or and there's like a discussion that starts up about this right when this topic starts, and all the different people involved have some sort of opinion on it. Oh, that's morally corrupt. You can't use blood, and it's like, but blood has been used for countless generations for many good things. It's just you're thinking of it in the wrong way, right? So
would I have been able to recall if there was a particular color or consistency to
and the last thing, so there are 3 things that kind of get bandied around as kind of like the top 3. One is a high quality magical ink, right?
Yep.
The second is blood, and the third is what basically boils down to quicksilver.
Okay.
And from your memory, what was there was basically kind of a silvery hue.
Okay.
So that is probably what it was. Purchasing, again, in the discussions, right, this comes up, what you would need is probably about 50 gold worth of Quicksilver in order to complete that circle.
Jeremy's just over here nickel and diming.
Look, that's why I give you guys money in the dungeon, is to make you spend money up top. Like,
Give me more.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've only been giving you guys
The
thousands of
200,000
gold.
Dragon equipment.
Okay. Would it be assumed that I pick up this Quicksilver?
Yeah, you could.
As a part of
Absolutely.
this?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
The Font of Knowledge is probably a good location for things like this, like vellum, scroll cases, special ink, various different like minor enchanting items or things like that. Because again, it's the Font of Knowledge, so there's a lot of people around this area or little storefronts around this area that cater to that type of thing. So,
How much / how heavy?
The how heavy would probably be, it basically comes in a large glass vial. You can put a pound. Basically. So.
And is there any sort of utensil that's used for distributing it?
Not particularly. That kind of boils down to mage preference, caster preference. You can dab it with your fingers. If you want to get special, you can get brushes for it, that type of thing. It's just up to you.
Well, if I have an idea of the iconography, I have the materials.
Yep.
I think I'm good.
Yep, you should be good. I would say at the end of this research period, you feel confident that you are prepared to recreate this circle if that is what you so choose, right? And there's even a little bit of discussion, like hypotheticals about what could it be, right? Is it a summoning circle, right? Is it a portal, right? Is it a seal on something? Does it unlock something, right? And no one, right, just due to the vague nature of it being a kind of just an arbitrary design of a magic circle, there's no real way of telling, right?
And I wouldn't be name dropping or anything like that.
Sure. I assumed you would be relatively. Yeah, I think this is probably, again, most of the nerds that are helping you are treating this as more like a hypothetical, like theory crafting scenario, right?
Hey guys, you want to solve a puzzle with me?
Yeah, that type of thing, right? So.
Fuck yeah.
Cool.
All right.
I'm good.
One guy said,
Fantastic.
"Oh fuck yeah," and then he's like, "Hey Jerry, come over here." It's like, what the fuck, Tom?
So, Matashtai.
Yes.
You had a discussion earlier with Cine, and then you headed off down Tower March towards the garrison on the edge of the field ward. Do you want to continue that line, or do you have other plans? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna head right to the place to sign up and be a volunteer.
Okay. So you head over to the nearest city guard garrison. You come into the garrison is pretty massive. It's a huge kind of fortified building. There's a barracks attached to it. There is a public section of it, so you don't have any real issues kind of like getting in or anything like that. But you don't really know where you're going, so it takes you a little while to kind of like get around, and you eventually find your way to this public section that has a clerk there. And well, I say it has a clerk. What it actually has, right, is you head in there and there's a bit of a kerfuffle going on, and there's a bunch of people running around doing things. It seems like they're either really busy with something, or they're really focused on something at the moment, right? And there is at this counter, there's a man dressed in city guard armor, right? Sitting at this counter where you would assume a clerk would be. And he looks just Like, he looks so put out. He's just like, oh God, why me? Why do I have to be here? Right? It's very obvious that this isn't his shtick, right? And he sees you coming, and he kind of like puts his head in his hands for a moment before he looks up at you, like, oh. But it's this younger kind of like half-elf man, and you get to the counter, and he's just like, what can I do for you?
Howdy. Looking to sign up and be a volunteer. Want to help patrol the surrounding lands.
It kind of like, his eyes widen a little bit, and he's like, oh, you're volunteering. I thought you were going to complain about something again. Or report something. Or complain and
Well, if you
report
won't
about
let
something.
me help.
Oh, no. No complaints on my end there. He looks at you, kind of like looks you up and down, and he says, I hope you like paperwork.
I do not.
Says,
I find it hard to read.
unfortunately, he kind of snickers, right? And he reaches into this desk next to him, and he pulls out this stack of forms, right? And he kind of like plops them down on the counter in front of you, and hands you a little quill and ink pot, and he says, sorry, but anyone volunteering, we have to make sure that they understand what they're getting themselves into. And he says, kind of like looks around, and like I said, things are just kind of like a little crazy around, and he's kind of looking around. It's clear he's looking for someone. He says, fuck it, I can do it. After you're done with the forms, we'll take you out back to the field, and we'll have to do a physical test. Make sure you're capable.
If I can stun this stack of papers, will you let me not fill it out?
I don't even know what you mean when you say that, and no.
I didn't know what it meant to stun the wind, but I did that.
I did that.
This is the information's fairly basic. Just your name, any aliases that you might use, any issues that you might currently have with the law, right? Any outstanding warrants, your places of business, your addresses, things like that, your nationalities, what's your your allergies? Are you allergic to bees? Any
Drink our bone broth.
Any
Fluoride makes
particular,
the
like,
frogs
are
gay.
you vulnerable to fire damage or anything like, right?
I'm vulnerable to brain devour.
You are pretty vulnerable to that, actually. Oh shit! So I say it's a big stack of papers, but it's only like going to a health clinic, right? It's only like four or 5 pages of just filling out basic information about yourself. Although
security number,
Matashtai, you might actually run into a couple of like questionable situations because you're from a different planet. So like,
yeah,
place of birth is on here, right? And you're like, I mean, they want specifics.
honestly.
I mean,
Outer space.
so like, and there's sections for like, basically, what you can glean is there's a big long section for wheedling out why you're wanting to volunteer, what you're wanting to really volunteer for, and specifically a little section that's obviously there to determine if you're an adventurer or not.
Just write classified over and over again, and then the bottom.
This is persecution, Jeremy.
So it's the guard's attempt at
Classified.
being, because
Classified.
some people just want to volunteer with the guard to be helpful to their community. Some people want to volunteer with the guard because they're a little
What you should do
in the head.
is fill it in,
And
scratch
some
out,
people
like,
want to
redacted
volunteer
by it.
with the guard because they want to basically be vigilantes, right?
am I a vigilante if I'm working with the guards?
So the again, right? It's just them. It's not that they're going to refuse you. It's just them trying to make sure they understand who you are and kind of what your deal is, right?
Do you have a penchant for wearing masks and/or cape?
Yeah, and
Yes to both.
there's a whole section on basically are you it's the basic are you a felon? Like, does the watch have a warrant out for you right now?
How
Right?
do you feel
Not
about
that I know of.
How do you feel about the film Boondock Saints?
Gee.
Am a fan.
So, it takes you a little bit of time to fill out this information before handing it in. When you hand it in, the half elf kind of like takes about 5-10 minutes to review it, like actually go over it. Alright, okay. And then he looks up at you and he says, I almost said Kethra. He looks at you. He looks up at you and he says, Matashtai, huh?
Yeah, you can just call me Matt.
All right, Matt. There's a couple of strange things on here. But to be honest with you, we're a little.
First of all, you said it says birthplace, and you said yes. That's not a place.
Let's unpack that.
That's not how that joke works.
It's a so he
In
basically
fact,
says
You just said yes over and over again.
To
He says-
everything.
Felon?
truth be
Yes.
told, we're a little understaffed at the moment. And we get a lot of strange people in here all the time, and you seem tame
Less
enough.
strange.
Yes. So I'm gonna take this on good faith for now, and we're not gonna worry about any of the odder answers that you have on this particular form. Let's say we take this out back and see how you hold up as far as like a physical test goes.
Your
You bet.
opponent?
What's your name, by the way?
He says, "My name's Mandius."
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
Mandius, the return.
Mandius the Griffin
Thank
Rider.
you, Jeremy! Thank you, Jeremy, so
Woo,
much!
the return of the
This is a
god.
fucking
He's-
miracle!
He's been waiting there. This was the same garrison that you guys were gonna go to in Dragon Heist when you were doing the Growlhund Villa thing, and then you decided not to. He was there, waiting the whole time.
Oh,
Damn, he was ready to fly fucking fly
He's been there.
lookout.
He's been there, waiting
Flying
for you.
Griffin 1.
So Mandius, the half-elf Griffin cavalry member, who is clearly not happy about the job that he's having to do right now. He takes you through a series of halls, past this big, like, it looks like an open, like any cop drama that you've seen where you walk into like the offices, right, where all the beat cops are or whatever, right, or not beat cops but the detectives are, right. It looks like an area like that. He walks you through that, and there's literally just like these guys in like knight armor except for like helmets, just like sitting there reading stacks of papers. And none of them look especially thrilled to be doing what they're doing. But he takes you out back, and there's a little, oh shit, what's it called? A little training field. What's the Roman kind of
like a coliseum
The
kind of.
sandpit looking thing?
Yeah, it's that type of thing, right? It's there's a term for it, but I don't remember what it
Yeah.
is. So it's basically like that. It's maybe 15 by 30, right? It's kind of like a volleyball pit, basically, that type of thing. But he takes you out there and
Calls the
he looks
Griffin.
around and he says, "All right," and he
says-
walks over to a series of racks, and he picks up a sword. It's a blunted weapon.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Thing. Reverse.
Okay.
He's prepared to cut you at any. He's a man
I
that
don't
can
wanna
cut
be-
anything.
I don't want to be cut.
All right. Roll initiative.
Okay.
He's the man that will cut the.
I mean, he
entire
looks.
world.
I'm
Well, I say
last.
roll initiative. He looks at you, right? And he kind of like gestures to your weapon, and he's like,
I shrug him off.
I was gonna say, you mind grabbing something else so you don't like skewer me on accident?
Nah, I think hands will be good.
Hands.
Oh, he's gonna lay hands.
He kind of shrugs and he says, "All right, up to you."
Surely his form would have mentioned that his line of his
Sure.
propensity to combat would have probably said something monkish.
Something
Nope,
monkish.
it actually did not. It says pure fighter.
Oh, you got a 5. Okay. His.
Yeah, I'll
I don't
go
know that I
last.
have.
You
I
better
don't-
hit hard.
He has stats for a Griffin cavalry rider, but he's not on his Griffin and he doesn't have his lance, so this is going to be a little different than what he normally is. So I'm not going to bother pulling up his stuff. But his initiative would be a +2.
You might say that this performance may leave him
He got a 4.
stunned.
You go first.
Wow.
Wow. All right.
Starting off strong. Now he's not in full regalia or anything like that, but he is still wearing his the accoutrements of his office, right? He is still wearing his armor, everything like that. So he's not defenseless, right? He's just not griffined up, basically.
Yeah, he's just in his uniform.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, then, if I'm going first, as he gets into a battle ready stance, I'm gonna rush forward, and then I'm gonna get real close. Like I'm gonna stab him with my hand. I'm gonna do like a 3-inch punch.
3-inch
Killed him.
punch.
Right to his
you-
chest.
Kill this man outright. He has
Jesus
he has
Christ.
3 HP.
Oh, probably not. I rolled a 10.
5
No.
heart exploding.
You punch him in half plate armor, and you go ah. And he looks at you, and
Oh,
you're like,
thank you.
"What did you expect?"
Well, that's stronger than I expected. And I'm gonna sweep a leg at his kneecap.
Sweep the leg, Johnny. You got a problem with that?
I'm rolling great.
He's
tonight.
he's standing strong, right? You go low, sweep, and kick right into like a shin guard, and he's just like, not gonna work there.
All right.
What
Then
do
I'm
you
gonna-
expect? He is the god.
I'm gonna uppercut into his face.
Oh God!
Okay, he does kind of
No,
like
I'm
react,
not.
like he jerks back, and he goes, "Wow, you are fast."
Don't worry, I won't hit you.
Apparently. All right, he doesn't have a crazy 2-hit bonus. He has a +4. So he after the uppercut, right, he just kind of like tries to swing,
Don't worry,
kind
it's
of
gonna be a 23.
chop you with his little wooden sword. It's an 8.
Oh,
Well,
okay,
there's
never
this-
mind.
This is such a
Poor
wet
show,
noodle
fellas.
fight.
This is
Oh
the,
my
the
God.
wettest of noodle fights.
All right, and he
Are
doesn't
y'all both bored?
He
right
doesn't
now?
seem
Like,
No,
overly.
it's like when two fighters first are like feeling
Yeah,
out the like distances.
totally. That's absolutely
You gotta
what's
size
happening
up your
here.
opponent, especially
Yeah.
in non-mortal.
It's not that they both just
Like I'm
whiffed
uncomfortable
like
being an
crazy.
officer of the law.
He says, "Yeah, I just testing things out." It's
Yeah,
he
no,
is
I see you.
he's not
I'll
overly
see
swift,
what
so
you're
it's back to you. He's only got 1 attack.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna try and like punch him in the ribs.
there it is.
There we go. What you roll?
26.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a hit.
That's 9 damage.
Oh,
And then
yeah, that
I'm gonna try and
hurts.
stun him.
okay. Try to stun him. That is a Constitution
Knock the
saving throw,
wind out of him with that punch.
right? Con saving throw.
It'll be a 14 con, yeah.
Ooh.
Those rolls keep being terrible.
Oh. I didn't put a space where I needed to put space. 17.
Ooh, he saves.
Yeah, you hit him hard, and he's like, oh, and he
Do I keep trying to stun him or just punch him this turn?
It's up to you.
All right. I'm going to then swing from the other side. I'm just like crushing him with my fists.
Okay. That's a hit.
Nice.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna try and stun him again.
All right. Another 6 damage and another. Yep, still saves.
Okay.
Oh,
And
he
then
takes
I'll
the
punch
hit
him
and
with
he's
my
just
bonus
like,
action.
God, stop that!
And I'm gonna headbutt him.
Wow.
That actually does not like he manages to like move
17.
back just in time to where like you headbutt his breastplate instead of his face, right? And so there's just this loud clack right as you headbutt this fucking breastplate, and he's just like, he takes a step back and he kind of like he pauses for a second, like he's looking at you like to see if you're okay after like doing that.
Like,
I've got like a feral like.
And his eyes kind of widen a little bit, and you see he like suddenly he takes both hands on the wooden sword, and he kind of like takes a little bit of a stronger stance, and he goes into swing. So it's a +4. It's a 17.
That hits since I'm not using a weapon.
All right, fantastic. So he is basically using a long sword right now, and he has a. And he's using it two-handed, right? He went to hold it in. So. Oh, max
Ow.
roll 12 like he just like right across the face, and it hits, it connects, and he goes, "Oh, are you okay?" And it's your turn.
Ow!
It's
ow. Put an extra syllable on it.
I'm gonna fucking try and hit him. Probably miss.
No, that's a
maybe
hit.
not.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try and stun him again. God, please be stunned. You hurt.
All right, another.
He's eventually gonna fail.
Yeah, he fails.
Wow.
So he's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And you take that chance to like just jump in and boom, and he just blinks at you rapidly for a few seconds.
So like, as I hit him and I stun, I kind of step back for a moment, and I do like the full-on like KO Ken stance, like ah, and then run back in at him.
How about it? He is stunned. You have advantage.
Yeah, I'll just roll that one twice, and then I'll switch advantage on. Don't worry, I'll still miss.
He's still wearing plate armors or half plate armor, so that's definitely a miss. That is meets it beats it. So you got him on that one.
I'm gonna expend a key point to do a flurry strike.
Okay. That hits. The 17 hit too. Yeah. Okay. Let's just make sure.
Yeah.
All right. Mine. Okay. Cool. And it's his turn, and he's stunned, and then it's your turn. He's stunned, and his eyes are still blinking. He's like, all right.
I continue the barrage. As long as I don't feel like I'm gonna kill this man.
You
Kill him.
can choose to do subdual damage at any time.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
so
not.
if you are saying that you are not trying to kill him, then you're fine. So
Okay.
that's a crit. Absolutely hits.
So, with my crit, I'm going to expend I'm gonna use Death Strike.
Okay.
I'm gonna spend a key point to do extra damage, so I'm gonna do 46 damage.
Nice.
Hey, wow, you've been able to fish that out. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Whoever gave the monk class the option to do mites is dumb. Like you're dumb.
I think it's still weak, honestly.
Yeah, it's not as good as a smite, but
Oh no, it's not as good as a smite, but it's. Did you really also need that?
though it is a
Oh,
lot
shit.
more reliable.
Yeah.
Like
Is it though?
So we
because you
got.
get key points back on short rests,
So you
Yeah.
punch,
and it goes up.
and
with
he
your martial
goes.
arts die.
He just like his feet go out from under him, and he just onto his back.
And then
On
a
the
griffin swoops in.
And he's just standing there, like he's just looking up, and he's just blinking.
And I reach down and hold out a hand.
And he's still stunned, right? So it takes
Oh.
it takes 6 seconds for him to go
I
like,
touch the spot and I unstun him.
Like Xena with her pressure points.
Jesus. That's a throwback. Oh my goodness. We're showing our age on that one.
Xena
Ah.
Princess. Lucy Lawless, man. Big crush back in the day.
Yeah.
Big crush.
Sure. So, a few moments pass, right? And you offer out your hand, and he takes it, and you pull him off. It's heavy in all this fucking armor, too, so it's not like just a whoosh or anything like that. And he kind of like dusts himself off, and he just kind of like walks, like moves to walk past you back towards the building, and he says, "Okay, you're in." He just walks past you. He doesn't give you any fanfare or anything like that. He's just like, "Okay, you're in." And he's just kind of like, he's walking like janky, like,
Just like down tender spots.
right? Like, fuck.
So,
Why do I have to do
what do I
this?
report? What do I do?
Come on.
Okay.
Kind of leads you back through that big room, right? And the head's kind of like, whereas the heads hadn't really turned previously, the head's kind of like turned, because he's covered in sand, right? He's just walking through this big office area. Sand's just, every step he takes, a of sand just kind of like comes off of him, right? And people are just like, looking. and he just doesn't say anything, just walks all the way back to the front, right? Walks through everything, sits back down on this stool that he was sitting on, waves you over. Pulls out another form.
Round
Hands
2.
it to you.
Another one?
Availabilities and interests.
Well, oh, like when I can work?
Yeah,
Now.
mostly. Like now?
I got nothing else to do.
People come in and expect to work the same day you get hired? What? Oh, I'm tired.
Where I'm from, they like that kind of work ethic.
Ah, I'd like the work ethic too. You hadn't just put me on my ass.
And yes.
It's hard to like anything right now.
I pull out the healing staff, twirl it, and I poke him with it. Heal him.
You bonk him on the head with the healing staff.
Heal.
Whack. he is he doesn't see it coming, right? He's not really, he's in his own world, right? And he does the ask someone before you do that type of thing. What is wrong with you?
Oh, well,
Oh,
friends don't mind when I do it.
friends don't mind when I do it.
Yeah, I like it. Just a little surprise.
I mean, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, look. Sit down for 5 minutes. Let me catch my head.
All right.
Figure
Catch
something
my
out.
head.
I take Tamakiri and the staff off of my
Stab
back
him to his heart.
and just like kind of hold them to the side as I sit down. We can't sit with those on.
Okay. So about 10 minutes or so go by, right? He gets up and leaves after about 2 or 3 minutes. And then he comes back after a little bit, and he waves you over and he says, "All right, I talked to some people trying to see what I can do. There's honestly not much we can have you do today. But you said you're available pretty much whenever, right?
Yeah, within reason. I could probably only patrol for 2-3 days at a time, and then I'm gonna need breaks. But
Come in tomorrow?
sure.
All right, we have a little bit of a gig, kind of a test run for You know about Howdown?
I heard of it.
You interested?
Pretty new to town. Yeah, it sounds like it might get a little crazy, but
Yeah.
I'm
Got
interested.
any friends?
As long as we ain't hurt. Well, yeah.
I mean, looking over your form, it seems pretty obvious that you're kind of the adventuring type. Sometimes
Right.
we get a couple of groups that'll sign on with us around Howdown just to, take the opportunity, give a little back to the community, get out there, do some stuff. If you do have some friends, obviously, right, probably be able to get you on without any issues anyways, but if you have some friends for Howdown, that can make things a little easier to kind of work out as far as like groupings go. If there's any interest, maybe something to talk about with them. There's no pay or anything like that, it's volunteer work. But
Fine by me.
depending on what you do, there's always a chance to get the share of some spoils. Though I'll be honest with you, that's kind of a luck of the draw type thing.
I ain't doing it for the money.
Good man. All right, well, come back tomorrow. Like I said, we have a little bit of a kind of a test run idea. Probably not going to see any action, but we'll show you the ropes of kind of what we do. Get you out there, put you on a light patrol, probably head through the Undercliff or something like that. I'm not sure what they're going to have available, but at least get you the chance to do something, and once we get you acclimated, we can try to set up some sort of schedule for you. So we might have to work on your availability depending on like what your situation is. What are you doing most of the time?
We've been delving down in the Undermountain.
And like kind of does that like long whistle, right? Goes, okay then. Do you have a regular schedule with that or anything, or is it just kind of come and go as you please?
We go until we physically can't go anymore.
It seems
can't
like
go
we've
'cause
been
Matt's gotta
going down
work.
for a day or two, coming up for a day or two.
All right. Well, I mean, we don't have to have you on firm schedule or anything like that. But if what you're mostly interested in is patrol work, then I mean, that we tend to have a little more scheduled more often than not.
Give
That's
him a
not to say
badge.
that you're never gonna
Vigilante.
have an opportunity, right? But if we can't get you on a schedule and you're just showing up whenever you can, then more often than not, we'll have stuff for you to do. Like if you want to do some stuff today, we have stuff you can do. It's not what I think you're interested in necessarily.
Sure. Well, I'll see what our schedule's looking like. Maybe the other guys would like to be up top more often. We can work out a better schedule.
Oh, well, let me know. Either way, I'm not gonna say it was a pleasure, because, well, but it was nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you too. I hold out my
Kind
hand.
of, before you go, I noticed on your form that you're staying at Troll Skull Manor. Is that where they put that new
Sure.
bar in?
Yeah, you should stop by, have a drink.
Does anyone happen to know the are you an owner?
No, I don't own it, but I know the guys who do.
Oh, so you do know them. A turtle man and a kind of a bard and I don't know. I don't know.
Transgendered elf.
Yeah, Mandius doesn't know that, but he would probably say
Androgynous elf.
he'd probably say something like an androgynous elf, sure. And a man with. They're not talking about
not
you.
talking
They're
about
talking
you,
about
Jacob.
Aster.
Oh, that really
Yeah.
felt targeted.
No, they're not talking about you. They're talking about Aster. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
The actual transgender one of
Yeah,
the
the actual transgendered one.
He doesn't
yeah.
even remember Ezra. Oh no.
No, but he was getting to that part, and then afterwards he'll say
And the
and
frail
there's
one.
the mage with the vitiligo, right? Those ones.
Only one of those sounds familiar, but I think I heard talk of the bard and the elf.
Oh,
Haven't heard much about the turtle man.
I met them once. Pretty interesting fellows. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Grandiose.
Uh,
Then leaps 2 feet in the air. Whoosh! Picked up by a group.
he does not.
In the building.
In the building, Griffin comes in through the door.
I did not understand you were in the building, but yes.
Oh shit. He says, tomorrow.
Yeah, what time?
Right. 8-ish. Honestly.
Morning, right?
He will say. Lorena Fenwick. That'll be who you're reporting to.
Am I reporting here?
Yes, yeah, you can come here. It just, I may or may not be working the desk in the morning. Just come here, ask for Lorena. Someone will take you to the proper place.
Alright,
Heads up, she's fine. She's not a hard ass or anything like that, but she is a veteran. So don't fuck around.
Yes, sir.
I didn't figure you for it, but I thought I'd say something. It kind of like rubs his face and says, "Jesus. Next time, you don't have to go all out. You just maybe like hit a person a couple times and be like, hey, that's what I can do."
Well, I want to make a good impression.
Well, you made an impression in my body with bruises.
I'm gonna have to go on medical leave now.
I point to my face. Likewise.
Yeah, he smacked you in the face with his sword. There's just this big red and purple mark on the side of your face now. Oh, God.
He's just trying to feed his family. And
All right.
Griffin.
He bids you do. There you go.
All right.
Fantastic. Okay. Bring around the rosy. We are back to Bones. Let's get off this balance.
All right, I want to go to the Storm and Shield. Shield and Steam.
Steam and Steel.
Steam and Steel. I was pretty close there. Because I want to sell off the Silvered Greatsword and the Plate Mail.
Okay.
And if they don't
yeah.
give me a good price on the plate mail, I'll ask them to clean it up and I'll sell it somewhere else.
No, they'll give you a good price for it. I mean, they'll give you a fair price for it. Plate
That's all I
mail
ask.
is it is damaged. And so buying prices are basically half. And then it's damaged, so it'll be slightly less. Half would be
Okay.
$750, so they'll probably try to haggle you. They'll probably say $650 as a start.
700.
Roll persuasion.
Look, I gotta feed my family.
Yeah, roll persuasion. I mean,
Of
it's
the
an
family.
easy haggle, but I mean they're
9.
easy haggle, but not that easy, right? So they're like,
650 it is.
really, huh?
650 it is then.
650. You go for it. Okay.
What
Alright.
about the Silvered Greatsword? that's
Silvered
been taken
Greatsword,
care of
yes. So the Greatsword, I remember off the top of their head, so silvering the weapon costs, what, 500 gold?
well? I have no idea. This is a Jacob question. But he's not paying attention.
I don't think it's that much. I think it's like 50.
I thought it was like
it's
100.
definitely
or
more than 50.
200.
I don't know that it's 500, but it's definitely more than 50, I think.
5e silver.
You can
ring-
silver a
silver
single
ring
weapon for 100 gold.
There you
So,
go, 100 gold.
I was closer than you were. Ha!
I was the one who was on.
we weren't trying to like, who is closer? We're trying to be right, Jake. And neither of us were
Price
right.
is right, and you went over.
We're not playing Price
That's
is
true,
Right.
it's
We're
Price is
playing
Right
Give Me
rules.
the
You
Good
have
Answer,
completely
motherfucker.
failed.
All right. A great sword is 50 gold. A silver job is 100 gold. The weapon's in good condition. No issue there. So they'll offer you 75 gold for it.
100.
Roll persuasion.
So nice. Look at how nice it is. Come on. Do me
Where'd
this-
you
do
get
me-
this
I'm
sword?
trying to feed my family.
Where'd you get this sword?
What?
Where'd you get this sword?
I found it.
Roll me persuasion.
I found it.
Oh.
God damn it. Fine. You're taking food from the mouths of my family.
and Imbric and Abby are like, yes, food from the mouth of your family to the mouth of our family.
Goddamn.
Somebody break up 725 gold for the party.
Oh, are you you're splitting it?
We found it together as a group.
That's fair.
What a guy.
All
What
right.
a guy.
Jake, are you helming that? All right, so Jake's gonna go break that down. Anything else you want to do? That was pretty quick. Anything else you want to gloss into?
I will go and do a work day.
Okay. Yeah, so you can spend an 8-hour workday, because you probably blew
Oh, hey,
through about
also,
half
do you
your
guys
day
want
doing
this
things.
hide armor? Anybody hide armor? Oak staff?
Hide armor. They're not interested in oak staff,
I have
but
no
they
interest in
will.
hide.
Oh, are you talking about them or the party?
Both?
They will buy the hide armor for 5 gold.
Take it. 5 gold.
They have no real-
730 gold, Jacob.
They have no real interest in the oak staff.
Right as I was finishing.
Well, do the first one and then add the extra 5
You
gold.
said five gold extra?
Yeah, extra 5 gold. Easy peasy.
And then I will go to the Carvers Guild and I will put up a
Guild of Fine
note
Carvers?
on the presumed tack board that says LFP looking for partner
Okay.
and or apprentice. And then C bone.
Okay.
And then I'll draw a cat face.
Fantastic.
And then I'll go work. And then I'll go do a work day.
Go do work day. What are you working on?
Shit. Great question.
You don't have to let me know right now. You can let me know at a later date if you need to.
I gotta like take stock of the bone.
Yeah, spend your time
See-
thinking about what
see-
you
see
want your
how
next
they
project to
speak
be.
me.
No big deal. Let me make a note here. So that's what you do. You do an 8-hour workday working on whatever your next project is. Fantastic.
Yes.
And then we are back to Ashes. Ashes. Anything else for your day? So you spend the most of the rest of the day doing a training session with 3 strings. It is probably early evening by the time you are done, or mid-evening by the time you are done. So around like 7 or 8-ish, that type of thing.
No, I guess that's all I'm gonna do for the day. I guess.
All right.
Unless until tomorrow's
I
lesson.
mean, that's all you could do as far as like a work day goes, but you could do like other errands or something like that if you wanted to, if you had like some
No,
place you
I
wanted to
don't-
stop
I
by or
don't.
anything. Okay. All right,
think I
you head
don't.
on back
Okay.
to Troll Skull Alley. Ezra, what's up next for you? So you spent your at the end of your research period, you're probably also about, or not also, but you are probably about early evening, probably around 5 or 6-ish. So it's unlikely that you're going to be able to get another work period in. But again, you could stop by and do errands if there was something specific that you wanted to do.
Let me look at my list real quick.
What's the conversion rate for Electrum again?
It is 5 silver to 1 electrum, or 2 electrum to 1 gold.
2 Electrum.
I would would go back to the tavern and be in a sprightly mood because I accomplished 2 of my.
Awesome. And the staff notices that Ezra is in a sprightly mood, and after the morning kind of like show from Bones and the gift and everything like that, the staff is in a sprightly mood. So it's kind of a happy environment, right? Everyone's kind of like having a good time. Anastas is playing music, right? There's a small crowd in here. It's pretty nice. You have a thriving little business and people who enjoy the place. Okay.
If Ashes comes in during this time, I would let him know that I may have solved the puzzle of Calabash's
Magic circle.
yeah, that thing.
And I have a few leads on some of the other problems we have in the dungeon.
Oh, what are you working on?
That cold place. I got us all some clothes. We might be able to get in there for a little bit. It should be able to keep us warm enough if we're only in there for a little bit. Also, and he kind of looks almost a little sheepish.
Absolutely, he does.
If
he wasn't already beet red, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
his
you
natural
can't see him
skin tone
blushing.
wasn't just red, a tiefling, you know.
I might kind of be taking piano lessons
Piano lessons.
for the the thing that.
Oh,
Oh,
So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play it by the time we get down there, but 3 Strings has agreed to teach me how to.
he knows his way around an instrument.
an
He-
instrument. What that instrument might be, we're not sure, because it's surely not the lute.
I only had
Honestly,
a.
it could be a shamisen. Like those don't have many strings.
I only had a cursory experience with Tulip. I've told you about him before. He was
Tulip, that was his name.
very.
I called him Daffodil.
He'd think that was funny. Maybe not. I don't know. Some things hit
He's dead now.
strings. That good, cool. I will keep my distance.
Yeah.
So you would have realized that he is no more clinking or looking downtrodden with a heavy bag.
Oh hey, you got your thing.
I have procured a magical means of helping with my carrying. Yes.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
It was not cheap, but I feel like I'm getting my feet under me when it comes to social interaction. I was able to get him to drop his price a little bit, so that was
That's
good.
great. Actually, wonderful. Good job.
Yeah. It's still a little nerve wracking, but
Well, I mean,
I'm getting some experience.
I've never been much of a social butterfly myself, so I mean, it's just whatever.
Yeah.
When you live in a house full of just a bunch of werewolves, it's not really.
I mean, they're not all werewolves, thank you very much.
Everyone's a
Sure.
werewolf.
But I mean, that's how I'm gonna
Yeah.
color
Word
it.
Fair
And
enough.
those who aren't are.
Oh,
I
No,
can't.
there are definitely sympathizers within the order.
I can't say I can relate to that.
It's one of those things where it's like, were you raised in a barn? Well,
I mean, I was also raised in the forest with my sister for several years, so I can relate on that accord.
yeah.
Do you have plans for tomorrow? Are you doing more musical things?
Well, I'm gonna go
or...
meet back up with 3 Strings again and
okay.
start trying to learn the song. But aside from that, no, I don't have anything.
Okay, I was hoping to work on some alchemy stuff. I can talk to Fala though if you want to go.
Well, I'm gonna have to speak with her anyways, or I might not have to, because our first batch of potions will be ready tomorrow. So,
if you're focused on this musical thing, I can.
I mean, it's only a few hours in a day. It's definitely not gonna take all the time.
Okay, I will.
So we can definitely work something in.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Cool.
All right. That was fun. Matashtai. What do you do for the rest of the day after beating the crap out of Mandius and being told to report tomorrow? What do you do for the rest of the day?
I think I'd probably go hang out at the Yawning Portal.
Yeah.
Chat up some people.
You also get the kind of interaction that we mentioned earlier with Ashes. You get the, hey, someone's here when they're not doing stuff. Yeah.
Someone's out here without the misses.
Yeah, and you actually Ashes doesn't drink, and that's beginning to become known. But you drink, right, Matashtai?
Yeah, I drink.
So you get way more like people try to like, hey, let me buy you a drink. Tell me about the stuff you've been doing.
I'll tell them all about the stuff we've been doing.
Roll me an insight check.
Okay.
I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Insight, you said?
Yeah, insight.
Insight.
Ooh, actually, you have a +6. That's pretty good. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So some of these people are honestly just genuinely nice people, right? No one that you speak to, it comes off like in a bad way, but it does become obvious that some people are fishing for information, or some people, like either about what you're up to, or who you are, what your group's doing, and some people are fishing for information about, like, it becomes obvious, like, fishing for information on how to bet about you.
Oh.
Right? Like are they?
I'll make it sound like we've crushed through.
Like you're just beating everything, right? So it's just kind of like a fun social environment, but some people have agendas, other people do not, right? But none of them are like super negative towards you. They're having a good time. So are you looking to do anything particular, or are you just looking to hang out and kind of like do you want to try to find out some information? Are you trying to foster a cult, or
Honestly, I think he would just be there to hang out.
Just there to hang out?
Just kind of meet people, hear their stories.
Yeah, so you're basically like establishing a...
You never know when you're going to be in trouble, and there might be a guy passing by, and you know him, and he wants to help you because you're cool.
Absolutely. You're spending time making yourself known and available and meeting with people. You're spending time building a network. If that is the case, you can roll me a charisma check. Straight charisma.
Ooh, I'm very good at that.
Well,
as you can see.
Pretty lucky, right? So you might not naturally have, like the greatest amount of charisma, but you're a nice guy and you're in your element and you're legitimately trying to have a good time and be friendly towards people. And it shows, right? It carries. So let me make a note here. And by the way, this is something that if you guys are interested in doing things like that, like building networks, right? I will keep track of this. So if you want to do things with it later, right? If you spend time trying to actually, it's like learning a tool or a trade or a proficiency or spending time crafting or doing alchemy or what have you, right? You can spend time networking to improve the way people respond to you and options that you have available, etc. Right? So I will notate Matashtai has spent some time networking.
Do I meet any interesting people?
I
think you absolutely meet interesting people.
I said yeah.
I have no idea what you said. You meet interesting people.
I'm kind of worried now.
You meet interesting people, but you meet it because it's the yawning portal, right? This place is full of interesting people, but you don't meet anyone that's like super noteworthy yet, right? Like you have a couple of small conversations with people here or there. Volothamp is actually back in town, by the way. So he spends some time hanging out with you. Rainair ends up showing up a little later on in the evening, spends some time hanging out with you, getting to know you a little bit better, right? That type of thing. But right now, you haven't like you meet interesting people, but you haven't befriended anyone interesting enough that I think you should make a note of it. You know? But if you do spend more time networking, that's absolutely something that you can do. Is like work your way up to that friendship with Elminster.
Yeah, make Ezra real jealous.
I mean, let's be honest, Jake. I think you would be jealous if Mitch made friends with Elminster. I think I would be jealous if Mitch made friends with Elminster.
I'm just rolling my eyes because the only reason Zach said it is because he's just trying to get under my skin. Because at the beginning of this session, I said I left before he woke up, and he's just not letting me forget.
He gonna get you. He gonna get you back. Yeah. All right. So is that what you basically spend like the rest of the day doing, Matashtai?
You betcha.
All right. Back to Bones. You have spent the rest of the workday basically into early to late evening. Doing crafting work, and you and I can hash that out later on what specifically you're working out. And at the end of the day, there's not enough time to do any work after this point, but
work.
Do you have any errands that you want to run before turning in for the night?
I have no errands.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so it sounds like everyone is mostly done for this day, so that's the 23rd marked off. So you reconvene back at the Lifted Spirits. The whole place is
I'll
in
let
kind of
everybody know when I get back. I'm like, hey guys, I need another day and a half.
Okay. Does anyone have any issues with that? As you guys kind of like hash that out?
Ooh, what are you working on?
I'm getting my dagger enchanted and also maybe turned black.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Also,
go ahead. Sorry.
Also, it'll take that long to make your scrolls.
Oh, he can do it?
Yeah, he said he would do it.
Cool. Did he give? How much is he charging you for it?
I noticed you didn't leave any money with.
I didn't realize you were gonna requisition an order, but I appreciate it. How much?
I mean, that's what she told me to do. So.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, not quite, but okay.
50 gold each, total. Each.
Okay. And I will very clearly pull out my bag as I'm.
Let me display to you this thing that I purchased, and I want everyone to know that I'm very proud of this thing that I have purchased.
And I will pull out 100 gold pieces and pass it off to
Ezra is a kid with a shiny new toy. He wants to show it off.
This is horseshit.
What are you talking about? It's horseshit. It's the established currency.
No, I deal in platinum only.
Oh my!
You have a bag of holding. Shut up.
Jeez. All right. So
got a bag. That's a damn shame. The mules were coming tomorrow. The mules and the guide.
Good for you.
Also, my friend, he was working on some shoes that could make them go faster. So I could have requisitioned some of those.
I mean that is something that they've done. There was this big thing about some guy
just a
that
master
cheated.
Of enchanting now.
No, there was this race, and
It was in
this
the
guy.
news.
The heralds were all ablaze about
the broadsheet was yeah. Jeez.
I don't recall that. I'll have to check.
Oh, this was about 9 months ago. I don't know if you were in Waterdeep at this point.
I don't know if Bones was on this planet at that point. He absolutely.
Geography is.
I don't think Matashtai was on this planet at that point. Anyways, so is there anything else you guys actually want to do on this day, or can we cycle the night and start anew on the day of the 24th?
I get to fully regenerate my hit die.
Yeah, everyone should be full hit dice at this point. Okay, so I'm looking for kind of like an opportunity here, so I'm gonna ask a question. Ashes and Ezra, you guys had both kind of talked about maybe going to see Fala and asking how they were coming along with potions and talking to them about alchemy, right? In general, is that?
Well, I need to complete my alchemy training, which is
Do you want
my
to
major
do you want to
goal.
start the 24th by doing that that morning?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Are you guys okay with that?
If you guys wouldn't have noticed, because he doesn't make a big deal about it, but Ashes also wakes up with the sun. It's just the way he's.
He just doesn't go and wake other people up
Yeah,
because he's got things he wants to
he's
do.
not an asshole like Ezra is.
Ezra is not an asshole. He just doesn't necessarily handle the social construct as well as
Waking
others.
people up. Do not wake me up at dawn. What
I
is
feel
wrong
that.
with
I
you?
feel that real hard.
Okay, but are you guys cool with that? Does that work out for your
absolutely.
plans? Okay, so Ashes and Ezra end up breaking their fast, as I'm sure Matashtai and Bones end up doing as well. And while everyone disperses to go about their business for this day, Ashes and Ezra start off by heading across the street, the Corellan's Crown, to speak with Fala. The door, right, the sign on the door, does not say open yet, but you guys have worked with Fala before, and their schedule is kind of all over the place. They don't really keep normal hours, so it's not surprising that the shop might not be open, and it's still likely that they will answer.
Meth addict behavior.
It's just, maybe we should come back in an hour. I don't want to.
I mean, I'm not gonna force myself in either, unless they're ready for us. I'm not gonna.
I mean, you guys could always knock. I say this not in like a coy manner, like a trying to get you guys to do anything. You guys have gone to their shop at like
I like how
9
both Jay and I just smirk like,
I think Jeremy's
You've
gonna.
Yes,
gone
like,
there
yeah.
super late before, and I'm assuming super early before, and they've still dealt with you, right?
So you're saying we've done this before, so Ashes, go ahead and knock on. I'm going to be 30 feet
If you guys want to. If you want to come back in an hour, that's also perfectly fine.
I'll
Alright? There's a little bit of like rustling around inside the shop, right? You know there's a second floor, and then there's a greenhouse on top of the building, right?
Yep.
There's just a little bit of rustling around, and there's just a minute. Oh, hold on, just a second.
take your time.
And then there's no. You really don't have to. No, I can't. If you would just wait up, and then the door opens, right? And you all you do the from feet, and you look up.
Wait, I look up.
Yeah, even Ashes looks
You know how
up
tall I am.
as there is this incredibly immense, dark-skinned, like gray-skinned orc or half-orc man just standing, more than filling out this entire door frame. And he just looks down at you, and he kind of glares at you.
Again, I'm 30 feet away.
He glares at you in this very intimidating manner.
Hi.
And he's probably I say you have to look up. Ashes, for you, he's probably maybe about a foot taller than you. Right? So it's not that much of a look up, but for you normally don't have to look up at anyone.
Yeah, right.
And he
So
just
it's
kind of
four and
growls down at you, and through these two big tusks that are curving up from his lower jaw, he just looks at you and goes, "Who are you, and what do you want?"
Hey, we're Fala's neighbors,
And then you hear this, "Excuse me?" You hear Fala behind this big half-orc. He says, the half-orc turns and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Fala. And he kind of like steps out of the way, and you see Fala standing behind them, or behind him. And it's this weird moment, right? Because Fala's like 5'3",
5 foot nothing.
yeah, 120 pounds, maybe sopping wet, right? But this big half-orc is clearly either intimidated or doesn't want to piss her off, right? Doesn't want or piss them off, right? So there's this weird moment, right, where where the half-orc is looking at Fala and Fala's looking at you both, and Fala just says, "You upstairs now. You two come in, and we'll figure out the rest of the situation next week." I will say, as I always have to add something in at the very end. This half-orc is like fully dressed like to the nines in what looks to be like studded leather armor, and as you haven't really noticed it, but as he turns away from you, right? And he moves to like walk up the stairs up to the second floor. You see, strapped to his back, the largest bow you have ever seen in your life. It is as tall as you are, Ashes.
It's
So
unbelievable.
Immediately like the dragon bow from Dark Souls.
I was just about to link that.
Absolutely. And you see in a quiver, right, on this half-orc's back are these massive black, they don't look like arrows, they look like spikes.
Wow. He shoots javelins out of his fucking...
He basically shoots javelins. He absolutely does. It's amazing. I love this guy.
Dex-based half-orc?
Yeah.
What?
So, well, that bow looks big enough that it might require something other than Dex.
Hold up. You telling me I can be a strength boy bowman? I want to be a strength boy bowman.
I'm telling you that...
Only if you want to fail.
Some people get to play by different rules than you guys.
I would like to play by different rules, Jeremy.
It's too late. You're banned
no.
from the different rules. Anyways,
Didn't
I just wanted to
dragon,
I thought this
giant
was a
bow
really
take
cool
monster
character, so I when you guys were wrapping up, I thought this was going to be a fun place to stop on. So we'll unpack that next week. We'll see how that turns out, and we'll go from there. I know that sometimes we don't enjoy doing big sessions of downtime, but I actually had a whole lot of fun tonight. I'm glad that multiple people got goals accomplished that they were kind of looking for. With those, some of those have been a long time coming. Some of those I'm very excited to see finish out. And I'm actually like, even for the people that like, I expected a lot out of Jake and I expected a lot out of Zach. I didn't expect a lot out of Mitch or Jay, but I'm actually really excited with both of the routes that you guys went. Like, I'm really actually excited about the Ashes learning to play a single song on the harpsichord.
God. And then he's gonna lose his fucking hand.
Because it's so fucking dumb.
When
It's this.
It's like, oh, okay, roll a performance with advantage. Oh, what's that? A 4 and a 3?
5.
My hands.
It's this.
Hey,
It's
hey,
such a
at least you
dumbass
won't
reason.
get insta dead.
Oh,
because
from the damage,
Let's
the
see,
necrotic
just-
damage.
It
just
all
a little
aids or
taste for
some
things
shit.
for the future. Let's see.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
I also, you shouldn't have done it.
There
You
was-
shouldn't have
there
fucking
was-
done it.
yeah,
That was
you
You
your
just
one
fucking
chance.
wasted it, you
That's
dumbass.
wasting my RNG.
Also, to continue that line of thought, I really enjoyed the whole thing with Matashtai, like joining up and getting to meet Mandius, etc. But I actually really like this because I think Mitch, you might have been, well, like originally like, I don't really have anything to do and I'm not gonna have anything to do. But honestly, I think you can definitely have some things to do. I think you and I can work out some concepts of maybe you do like these occasional like little trips, and we can talk about like what you can get out of them and how much we want to role play them, etc. But I think there could be some pretty cool moments for Matashtai.
I'm envisioning Tail Raider Safari from
Yeah, absolutely,
from
right?
Monster Hunter.
We like everyone else is doing something, so they just send Matashtai out on a safari real quick. Matashtai, go collect us some dinosaur bones. Get out of here. Get out of our
Hey, if
hair.
anyone's collecting dinosaur bones, all right. Matashtai is not doing it alone.
Well, So, I also
Awesome.
hope that everyone got a better kind of like picture of what I'm interested in or willing to do as far as like your downtime activities, like the networking thing, like spending time networking, or actually doing apprenticeships and things like that. You guys have a lot of options. I love this. I love this setting. I love Waterdeep. I love the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and I'm super excited for us to go further and further into the dungeon and unlock all of its mysterious secrets. But we're going to be doing that for a long time. So I'm actually looking forward to the occasional moments of us doing things like building who you are in Waterdeep, building your reputation, setting down roots, figuring out character stuff. So, very excited about that. Please feel free to message me with anything that you have. Obviously, next week is probably going to be another... I would like to get back into the dungeon if we can by the end of next week, right? So if you have other ideas, please, please, please write down specific concepts. The more I know going into things, the more I can prepare with it and either give you a better result or hurry things along faster. So, sounds good?
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
Yes.
All right. Fantastic, guys. I had a great time.
Yep.
Yes.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.